The world of motorsport, it is Le Mans week. In the world of sim racing as well, why not? We'll follow suit. Hello everyone and welcome along to the second round of the Rennsport R1 competition in 2026. My name's Lewis McGlade. I won't be joined by Arjuna this time. He's decided to abandon ship. Ewan O'Leary, though, will join me in the commentary booth. Ewan, we had a lot of fun last week bringing this new car into this competition, and now we get to do it all over again at one of the home of motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the right week to do it, isn't it? Certainly coming here to Le Mans this week. For week 2 of our competition, I was watching from the sidelines last week. Thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. New-ish format, I suppose, with real domination from Porsche Coanda. But I thought, the real surprise package for Verstappen Sim Racing, maybe not quite matching them in the way that I thought they were going to. I thought that maybe they'd both come out of the day maximising the points, but that wasn't the case. Verstappen Sim Racing really came under some threat, came under some challenge. See how they respond to that this week.
Yeah, obviously standing starts and things like that in these hypercars can be a little bit troublesome. Let's talk to you a little bit about the schedule. Obviously, we've completed the opening round just a week ago. We're here for round 2 of the championship. We'll be back racing in a couple of weeks' time before we go racing at the start of July. And then the 10th of July, one of the greatest days, obviously because it's my birthday, don't worry about it. We'll be having the hero and the team race in our season finale where, of course, you need to be in the top 6 teams to take part in that. We have 12 across the competition. Only 6 of them will take part in our finale. This is the track vote. This is what we've all been talking about. Brand new onto Rennsport. We've added the Circuit de la Sarthe, and wow, it's taken both of our votes. We raced 2 tracks across the night, Ewan, and it's won both of them.
Exactly, yeah, and as I say, it's the right week to do it, so no surprise really that if you put Le Mans as 2 of the options up there, 4 people to decide, then it's going to be chosen, no surprise. So quite interesting to see some of the other circuits in there that came up just short. Fuji Shortcut, something I'd like to see, but not for this week.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure we'll see that out at least some point in the next couple of weeks, some of that kind of vein. Here is how the prize pool works. Obviously, the top 6 teams will be qualifying for the final. All teams will be earning money from a €10,000 prize pool. The top team at the end of the season will have €2,500, $1,850 for second place and $1,350 for third. A decent amount of prize money for them taking part in only a 4-round championship online, but of course it is against some of the very best names in racing. This is how the points work for each of the races. 20 points for the victory, 16 for second, and then 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Solid point structure. It means that consistency is king, but because it's 4-point gap for that race victory, victories are really, really important. It was a couple of very impressive victories, wasn't it, last round, Ewan, for Porsche Coanda. They dominated their 2 races, taking a 1-2 in both and a maximum of 72 points.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with these things often in evenings, I thought that their 1-2 in the first race at Spa was really going to set the tone for the evening. And in the other group where Verstappen Sim Racing were competing, I thought that they would go on and take 72 points. But as you can see here, nowhere near it. They weren't able to do it at Spa. And Benito was the one who was letting the side down, if I can be harsh. He still did all right, but not quite as good as Porsche Coanda. And it was TC Esports who were really the surprise package of the last week, I thought. I didn't see anybody getting between Porsche Coanda and Verstappen Sim Racing, but there they are, 60 points, only 12 points off Porsche Coanda. And you never know with seasons short as this, you never know. They've given themselves a right good chance, though, of competing towards the top of this regular season.
Obviously, there are post-round penalties to be dealing with. We don't have live race control. Everything gets dealt with post-round. So we've got a few warnings that have gone out there for Nuninghoff, 2 for Jack Keithley in the final race last week, and 1 for his teammate David Sabera, who ended up also victorious on there. Both of those cars were on the podium, but as you can see there, a 4-point penalty for Oscar Soprich and a 3-point penalty for Nico Nuninghoff. Those come out of the drivers, also for the team, but also you can see there that on the right hand side, 12 points for Nico Nuninghoff until he gets a qualifying ban, 11 points for Oscar Soprich. This is we've spoken before about we have had qualifying bans before in this championship. We see it quite a lot. Cannot really afford it on some of the circuits go racing, especially in these cars, because they are quite tricky to find the pathway through. Maybe less so here at Le Mans.
Yeah, maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see really how it's going to race around here, how these cars are going to race around here. We've not seen it in R1 competition before, so you never know. For this week, still, as you can see here, Porsche Coanda and Verstappen Sim Racing kept apart again. Porsche Coanda going to be in Group A, Verstappen Sim Racing in Group B, but Porsche Coanda have got the chance to go up against TC Esports this time around, and BS Competition as well didn't have such a great round, to be honest, compared to what they would have been expecting. So I would absolutely be looking out for that battle between Porsche Coanda and TC Esports. I think important for TC Esports to try and get as close as they can. You know, it might be unrealistic to say we have to beat Porsche Coanda tonight, especially when they've got Collins and Josh Rogers, two of the best. But they've got to get in amongst it, I think, and challenge them.
Well, I mean, Josh Rogers statistically, almost entirely across the board, has the highest stats of pretty much anyone in this series. Hilariously, though, when it comes to win percentage from races taken part, because David Sobrero has only done 2 races and he's won one of them, David Sobrero actually has the highest percentage of race victories in R1. If he can win again tonight, then he'll keep that. Obviously, Josh Rogers has taken part in 143 races and has won 44 of them. Incredible percentages there. We'll see Charlie Collins across the line. We'll see Robbie Stainford across the line, 318.4. We're expecting, naturally, with it being such a long lap comparatively, that we're going to see some larger gaps in the qualifying session. Stealth mode on David Sobrero there as he was rolling through the shadows. Car looked completely matte black there until it pops out into the sun with some golden blue.
Looks very nice in the sunshine with the gold. I'm looking forward to I'm hoping David Sobrero wins the race tonight so we can have an interview with him. That's going to be very funny. I hope we can chat to him. But anyway, let's see if he wins first. Here's his teammate Jack Keighley, who will be coming up towards the line next. Cristiano Gianotta nowhere near the time of Charlie Collins. To be fair, Staple wasn't either. But as you say, this lap is so long that the time gaps are going to be larger anyway. Keighley looks across to his right-hand side to see where he's going to be, and it will be, perhaps unsurprisingly, second.
Sobrero's next. We'll see one of the TC Esports cars across the line. Then we'll see Sobrero, Chadwick, and the return of Joshua Rogers. Very excited for that one into the Ford chicanes. Great to see these cars dance their way through the Porsche curves, down through the Ford chicanes. Beautifully done there, almost perfectly done from Sobrero. Will it be faster than his teammate? 2 minutes 20.0 to beat. Not quite faster than his teammate. Will sit in third.
Yes, not bad though in terms of a battle between teammates there, in terms of a run of teammates there. That wasn't bad at all. Seems like Will Chadwick has been delayed on his lap. He was quite a long way back. He was only just entering the Porsche curves when we cut to him there, so that suggests he's been having trouble so far on his lap time. Here though is the return of Josh Rogers. I believe he was Real World Racing last week because he couldn't join us, but he's joined us again this week, ready to maintain and continue his remarkable record in R1.
Obviously, yeah, he's been racing in Porsches in real life, Porsche Carrera Cup GB. He's been, sorry, is it Carrera Cup GB that he's racing in?
I think it's a Cayman, isn't it?
It's Caymans, you're absolutely right. Thank you, you are right. It's Porsches. I've got some friends racing Carrera Cup GB, I was forgetting. Josh Rogers either way will cross the line and we'll go into second position on his return. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's been doing some real racing at Alton Park last week. So it's a little bit different of a track, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. I mean, maybe you disagree. I think this one's better than Alton Park, but you know,
whoa,
we can disagree there. Oh dear, Matt Caruana all crossed up over the curves through the final chicanes, and he does well to save it, but I'm sure the lap time hasn't been saved. He's going to be right around where Chadwick is. There you go. That's not a good start for EMM. The 6th and 7th right now. I can't imagine they'll be much higher than 9th and 10th.
No, that was just, again, a little bit messy through there. Now we'll see Nico Nieninghoff taking some of these brightly coloured Rennsport cars through the final complex. The Grandmaster team up towards the line. Nieninghoff had a solid round last time. Another 3 minute 20. This one being 4.99. Puts him in 5th.
Yeah, here's Cody Nikolakowski. Very clean run through the Porsche curves there as he now comes towards the chicanes. Not quite using as much of that pit lane entry as some of the other guys are using. Really bouncing over these curves. They are vicious through here at Le Mans. And now out towards the start-finish line. Where is Latkowski going to go? You say midfield, and it will be 7th place. At least he wasn't delayed during that lap time too much.
2 more times to come in. Maximilian Dent Kaiki Oliveira, the two cars to come over. I think his camera might be a little bit might not be unless he's using the force to drive. You'd assume that's not Maximilian Den. Either way, up towards line, kick of oversteer off the final corner, up towards it. Seemed a little bit messy in that final sector, and certainly is. 21.4. One final time left to come in.
Impressive how he can go so straight while turning the wheel so much. That's very impressive. Kaiki Oliveira towards the end, that definitely is him as he comes towards the final chicanes now, really throwing it in through here. As I mentioned, the curbs are so vicious through here. You've got to just try and ride them as best as possible. That was a nice line. Now then, is he going to be able to challenge that front two rows where, and he does, yes. He challenges the front two rows where Porsche Coanda and TC Esports had locked out row 1, then row 2. But Kaiki Oliveira gets in amongst it and goes third.
So Charlie Collins and Joshua Rogers will mean that Porsche Commander Esports once again lock out the front row. Third time for them this season. Kaiki Oliveira sneaks his way into third, and it's another good showing from TC Esports. Jack Keithley ahead of his teammate David Sobrero. The Rennsport Grandmaster team will be having Nico Nuninghoff in 6th position. Either side of Robbie Stableford. Maximilian Dem will start from 8th position. Cody Nikolakovsky will start from 9th alongside Matt Caruana, Will Chadwick and Cristiano Gianotta in 12th. Disappointing qualifying session there, you've got to be said, from EMM. They did not get those Peugeots hooked up so much through those Porsche curves, but the race is a very different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, and especially at a circuit like this. You mentioned it early on, but I think you're probably right that the scope of overtakes round here is probably easier to do it here than maybe in some of the other places that we're going to go to over the course of this season. Certainly a better place to start from the back than the Nürburgring was last week. So yeah, I think they're still in with a chance, absolutely, but it's very, very damaging for them to be starting so far back, especially for a team of that quality. They really should be a little bit higher up.
7th pole position for Charlie Collins in this competition, 3 of which have come so far in the last week and a bit. He has been flying so far this season, matching this Porsche 963 so perfectly. His teammate wasn't particularly pleased with his performance last round, despite getting a couple of podiums and such. Dane Warren steps out for Joshua Rogers, and preparations begin in the Porsche Commander camp. And I'm sure strategy games already in the thought process as to how they're going to deal with especially that run out of Tete Rouge onto the Mulsanne.
Yeah, we always talk about it when we come to Le Mans, but what an important corner on this racetrack Tete Rouge is. First of all, it's quite an entertaining corner to drive on its own anyway, really. It's just medium to high speed, maybe a bit of a lift off in the as downforce heavy cars as these are, and it really decides your run all the way down the Mulsanne straight towards that first chicane, where there's a slight downhill into the braking zone there and good opportunities to overtake. But the slipstream round here should be absolutely massive. So those opportunities towards that first chicane, I'm sure, will be plentiful. And we'll see lots of action in that Daytona chicane, as we're going to have to learn calling it, or I'm going to have to learn on this first lap especially.
Exactly. I mean, look, there's some changes to some of the corner names around the circuit of the Sarthe, which are going to really confuse everyone, I think, for the next 3 rounds. We've got a day to get used to it. It's all right. I'm looking forward to it. Do you think Charlie Collins is going to win it? Do you think he's going to be able to take it?
Yes, actually, yes. I think he's coming to this season very well prepared, actually. He showed that last week, and I mean, out-qualifying Josh Rogers is very impressive indeed. Doesn't matter what track we're at, what car combination, whether he's had more practice, more experience this season. He certainly has. He was at last week and Josh Rogers wasn't. However, out-qualifying Rogers under any circumstances is very impressive indeed.
So they're ready to go. They are racing, and it's a good start and a good beginning to the race for Porsche Commander, who will lead off the opening of this race. It's Collins ahead of Rogers for 4 laps of racing. Kaiki Oliveira battling with Jack Keith as they climb up the hill. Onto the brakes and into the chicane they go. Where is everyone going to funnel their way through? A bit deep in there for Keithley, and Kaiki Oliveira is going to sneak his way through back into the slipstream with the 2 Porsche Commanders that run first and second. They were kind of chopping and changing between the pair of them. It's still Collins from Rogers from Oliveira. Jack Keithley on a bit of pressure here from Robbie Stableford. David Sobrero's got right involved in the mix. He's dropped back behind Nico Nuninghoff. Yeah, it wasn't a good start from Sobrero right from the off there, and Keithley's had to fight on alone, and Stableford actually is the one who's made up the places there. He's up to 5th place, but his teammate Kaiki Oliveira's with the 2 Porsche Commanders out front.
Weirdly though, I think he's got to try and work against the Porsche Coanders, try and drag some others into the fight. If it's 2 against 1, I don't think Kaki Oliveira stands a chance, especially not against Porsche Coander, so he's got to try and get some others to catch up. Doesn't necessarily have to be his teammate, could be Jack Keithley, but it might be his teammate, Robbie Stapleford, who's in 5th. He's got to get some help here, otherwise he's not going to overhaul these Porsche Coanders on his own.
They run down the Mulsanne, incredible speed. Can't wait to see them in the next race. The speed they'll be taking down here. Obviously running the faster layout. We'll discuss and see exactly what that means in a little bit. But right now, the Porsche Coander duo that are running first and second are just playing at the moment, keeping the cards close to the chest as we look back to Nico Nunninghoff and the onboard with him as he flies his way out the chicane down towards Mulsanne corner. The slipstream of Robbie Stapleford. BS competition translating well in this race, 3rd and 5th.
Yeah, he's got a decent run here, Nunninghoff, on the way towards Mulsanne corner. I'm not sure this is quite going to be the place to go for it. Not just yet. He continues to watch the back of the BMW of Robbie Stapleford just up in front here through Mulsanne corner and then on to the next straight, as is the theme really here at Le Mans. But with everybody in the slipstream at once, it's looking difficult to overtake so far.
Obviously, BS competition didn't have a particularly good start to the season last round. They unfortunately did not start for Kaki Oliveira in the opening race of the season. Managed to bounce back with the podium in the second race he did. Josh Rogers nearly into the back of a teammate, Charlie Collins, there as they go into Indianapolis up towards Arnage. I think probably the single most awkward corner on the entire circuit, before you get to take a deep breath and roll it through the Porsche curves, which with this much downforce here on Rennsport, freshly added to the platform, I'm sure will be a joy to drive through in these cars.
Absolutely. Well, it's a joy to watch, certainly. Watch them just throw it in on the way in here through the Porsche curves. Try and maximise the second part here, get close to that wall and then throwing it in again to the left-hander. Long right-hander here where you see multi-class traffic dealt with very often in the multi-class races around here. And then through the Corvette turn over the top of the small crest there, through the left-hand side and then through Maison Blanche and towards the final chicanes on the lap. It's a remarkable end to the lap here at Le Mans, one of the best sections in all of motorsport.
Yeah, which for a circuit which, I feel I'm fairly controversial on. I don't think this track's that amazing, right? Generally speaking, straights and chicanes. Obviously the event itself, ignoring the event itself, the 24-hour Le Mans is probably the most incredible race ever. I could not take my eyes off it last year. Absolutely loved it. The circuit itself to drive, I think it's not that incredible. Until you get to the Porsche curves and you realise, wow, this is like 2 kilometres of the greatest racetrack in the entire world. Then you come back around, you're like, all right, straight to chicanes again. I actually quite enjoy Tetrus as well.
Yeah, Tetrus is really good. The first sector is really good. I suppose that if you're being rehearsed, the end of the lap and the start of the lap's quite good. But yeah, after that, when you're going on the motorway again, or the A road, whatever they call that in France, then it's a little bit more dull. But are you starting to understand my argument about Sebring now? That's literally what I say about Sebring, but everybody thinks I want it repaved.
You do want it repaved, though. Right. UNO Pavey, I think that's your nickname. No, I mean, look, Sebring's all right. You know. What? Oh, just there for Jack Keithley, just in front of just in front of Robbie Stapleford, just in front of Nico Nunninghoff. And for TC Esports, that have had a fantastic start of this 2026 campaign, disaster has finally struck.
Oh, look at the shake of the head as well. He knows that's a solo error, at least I'm presuming it is. It wasn't anger at somebody else. Oh, and it's created the 3-wide barrier, and there's stuff flying all over the place. Tavis Sobrero's making it 3-wide on the outside into the second chicane. He knows he's got to fly the flag for TC Esports now, and he's got into contact with Robbie Stapleford. That's not going to get him anywhere. He shakes his head now. Maximilian Ten's going to fancy his chances of getting involved now too. Sobrero has been handed the baton here. He's got to gain some points for TC Esports since they've just lost so many, and he's trying to do it immediately into the second chicane.
From 0 to insanity in the flip of a switch. Incredible stuff there. Jack Keithley drops down. Max Den was off in the background, smashing signs left, right and centre. Sobrero was trying to make it 3-wide. Incredible stuff. All of them, apart from Jack Keithley, still remain pointed in the right direction. I get the feeling that is not the only time we're going to be seeing 3-wide this evening. They're back to single file though, and I'm sure that slipstream will be dishing out big and large as they head their way down towards Indianapolis. Be surprised if we saw too much side-by-side at this point of the track so far. Obviously, you can see the live standings in the top right of your screen. Remember, we've only got 6 of the teams out racing at this point of the competition. We'll see Group B in a few moments' time, and then we'll get those other teams, including the Verstappen Sim Racing team, needing to make amends for what happened last week when they didn't quite capitalise when they should have. They didn't get the 1-2s they were expecting.
But look at how it can change so quickly for a team like TC Esports, who are trying to beat a team like Verstappen Sim Racing, because with just a race victory, even a first and last place for Verstappen Sim Racing would be enough to get them ahead of TC Esports in the positions they're currently running in. That's how quickly it can change, and that's why it's so difficult to challenge these big teams like Porsche Coanda and like Verstappen Sim Racing, because they're so often so good. You've got to try and match that, and it's so difficult to do that for any other team in the world of sim racing, and we're seeing that for TC Esports at the moment. Sobrero is going to try and get what he can here, but I'd say the maximum is probably 4th place if he gets past Everford and Uninghoff, and that is far from certain.
I think it's kind of showing that these cars are not as planted as some of these drivers would want you to think. Coming off of the final chicane there through the 4 chicanes, bit of a slide there for Nico Uninghoff, seeing this onboard brutality on board with Sobrero. Every time he's taking a curve, that wheel is being thrown around. As are some of the cones here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. That one went absolutely flying. Paul Marshall's got to stick that one back in place before we've completed our 13-kilometre lap.
Yeah, indeed. Luckily, he's got about 3 minutes to do it, so he can just walk out there very slowly and do that with the field that we have here. But I'm thoroughly enjoying in this Rennsport season watching these onboards from these hypercars. I must say, really enjoying the sort of the brutality of it, the downforce of it, the inputs that these guys are having to make. I know that generally too fierce of inputs like that are generally not a good sign, and that's not a good sign either. Sobrero's all at sea at the moment, and he's got that wrong through the 2nd chicane as well. First chicane rather, I should say, and that is going to cement the gap between himself and Stapleford.
Someone get on the phone to the TC Esports team and tell them, hey, do you want to break a little bit early going into the first chicane in the Mulsanne, because they're clearly pushing it to the limit and it's caught them both out just a little bit. Obviously for Jack Keithley, certainly worse than David Sobrero. This is the Rennsport community team. We've got Cristiano Gianotta and Cody Nikola Lakovsky. They've switched around. Gianotta's got a heading up into 8th position. Gianotta, of course, you can see there on the tower. Obviously, the Rennsport R1 season, as of 2026, is a cross-platform championship. We welcome those racing on PlayStation and Xbox into the series, and Cristiano Gianotta, the only one in this race racing on PlayStation, where sim racing is such a PC-focused kind of e-sport. It's great to see that we're using competitions like this to suddenly start opening the doors and bringing in such a large contingent of very talented drivers to the world of sim racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very keen to end the arguments between PC and Xbox and PlayStation players about who's the best, really. One of the three is going to prove it with the crossplay that we now have, which, as you say, is absolutely fantastic. I know you talked about it last week as well. It is great. It just opens the field even more, especially when you add in the console versus PC element. You open the amount of guys who can actually get involved at the top level, compete at least to qualify for events and stuff. You really do open that out, broaden that out by adding PlayStation, Xbox users into it as well. So yeah, that's fantastic to see, and great that Rennsport has got that ability as well to equate the 2 platforms. You see 2 teammates running on 2 different platforms. That hasn't happened very often in the world of sim racing.
Yeah, of course, it's one of those things where sim racing is, for a while anyway, still going to be a very PC-focused thing, mostly courtesy of, that's an interesting line, mostly courtesy of where a lot of the sims are raced, where a lot of the competitions are raced. My hope is with championships like this that we are opening those doors, bringing in a little bit more of that influence, and showing that if you are a console player, maybe getting into sim racing, you see a lot of these competitions and think, well, I can't take part in that because, X, Y, Z, because I don't have a PC, because obviously PCs generally is more expensive than getting yourselves involved on some of the console racing. Well, here's an opportunity where you can start getting stuff, you can start working towards it on a sim platform that some of the very best in sim racing are giving you the benchmark. The benchmark at the moment, though, is Joshua Rogers. Saw the stats pop up on the bottom of your screen. 44 victories rather, from 143 races. Could be in position to grab yet another one. Is 45 on the horizon?
we've got enough time in this season for 150. I think we have. We'll see whether that's going to come later on in the season. But for now, it's just going to be an individual race win. I really thought Rogers would just push Collins all the way home. I was beginning to wonder on a lap previous just at what point these two will be allowed to fight amongst themselves. Maybe even they have been allowed that chance to fight already here, but maybe it's not a fight. Maybe Collins is just going to give this one to him at the moment. But they're running in unison. They're not going to hit each other. They're not going to take each other off the road. That would be a very, very big surprise. They are going to take the maximum points from this once again and really extend their advantage at the top of the tree in the championship now.
Seeing Charlie Collins onto the rear end of his teammate Joshua Rogers. I'd suspect there might be another opportunity, but then the thing is your only real last chance if you are going to go for a move, and let's be honest, you want to make it relatively safe, your teammates after all, it would be this run down into the Mulsanne corner, which we're a little bit not quite close enough, and then the run down into Indianapolis, and you really don't want to be side by side through Indianapolis. I've had my fair share of scary moments going into Indianapolis. One of my favourite corners on the show. In fact, I'd actually argue it probably is my favourite. It's such a unique complex going through that fast right-hander, but you've kind of got to be pinned through the right-hander. If you're side by side, you might want to lift off through there. As soon as you lift off, you lose the rear end and have an absolute whopper. See, these drivers don't need to be told that. They're some of the very best. But timing is everything with this move. And I think that Charlie Collins might be following his teammate Josh Rogers to the checkered flag rather than the other way around.
Yeah, looks like it. And we'll just see on the way towards the Porsche curves, just hesitate. Oh my goodness! Maximilian Den, what a save that was! And it snapped one way, then the other. He's been just edged off the road by Stapleford. You can see what he thinks of that. Robbie Stapleford going backwards in recent moments. David Sobrero got past him recently, and Maximilian Den will be protesting that one, it looks like, after amazing moment through Indianapolis in that battle for sixth.
I told you those moments happen. You go side by side there and you will have a whopper. Great save there from Maximilian Den. No need to have any of those big saves between these two. Joshua Rogers wasn't racing a week ago when we started this championship, courtesy of being maybe a little bit busy with some real world racing. Was replaced by Dane Warren, comes back into the Rennsport R1 championship and goes back to winning ways. His 45th victory, the all-time winner, will cross the line, goes number one again. Joshua Rogers will lead over Charlie Collins to make it a 1-2 for Porsche Coanda. An incredible performance from the duo again as Kaiki Oliveira will round out the podium.
At 108 points from a maximum of 108 over the first three races of their season. A remarkable start for Porsche Coanda. They are racing away in the lead of these standings right now. As you can see, 35 points in front of anybody else. A maximum score for one race is 36. We're already in that kind of realm. But behind an entertaining enough race, absolutely. We'll see whether there's anything post-race. So we'll obviously update you next week between Den and Stapleford. That was quite a moment.
Well, we can see here 1-2 at the front of the field, Rogers and Collins. Kaiki Oliveira continuing as he did at the second race last week, where he managed to grab a podium, grabs a podium here as well. We'll catch up with Joshua Rogers after this race. Nico Nininghoff in fourth position with David Sobrero, victorious last week. Obviously that was in Group B. He'll be in Group A this one, trying to take a victory off the Porsche Coanda. It's going to be a tough one. Robbie Stapleford just behind him. Maximilian Den, and then the Rennsport Community 1 team. That one's Cody Nikolakovsky and Cristiano Gianotto, the PlayStation player. Then it's Jack Keithley, who spun round, dropped down to 10th position. And the disappointment for EMM, just the 3 points. They finished in last place with 11th and 12th. We're joined in the comedy booth by Joshua Rogers, adding to the stats again. Welcome back to Rennsport R1. Obviously, you know, you've been racing a little bit in real world. What's it like being back here in R1 in a completely different car? It's, you know, not GT3s. It's time to bring out the LMDH and the hypercars. Oh, I think you've got muted, Josh, on Discord here.
Yeah, push to talk.
There we go.
Yeah, it's quite different. It's an experience.
I mean, obviously, you were pretty dominant there, along with your teammate Charlie, who was brilliant last week. Did you learn anything from him, from his racing experience in this car?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, we put in the practice. Yeah, push each other and try things. Ultimately, here it's just a big draft track, so we tried to use the dirty air to break away early and then just work together. Yeah, either of us deserved that one.
It's been the perfect start for the team this season. Obviously, 3 consecutive 1-2 finishes, remaining dominant. Obviously, with how this group split is, you've got your challenges and your BS competitions and stuff. I mean, where are you expecting the main challenge to come from? It's still like Verstappen Sim Racing. Obviously, they're racing in Group B tonight. Is that kind of where you're looking at, or is there someone else maybe that you think might be able to challenge? Maybe a TC later on in the season?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I think for sure, yeah. Verstappen Sim Racing. I almost said Team Redline.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't got to race them yet, so we'll see what happens when we get the chance to.
Well, you'll have a little bit of a breather. We'll take ourselves over to some Group B racing. Josh, congratulations. 45th victory from 144 races. Continuing your fine form.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
There we go. Brilliant to hear from Josh Rogers. Brilliant return to the championship, Ewan, from Josh Rogers. And you said it rightly. 108 points on the table, 108 taken from Porsche Commander. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. They're gap 35 already in front of TC Esports. The Rennsport Grandmaster team doing rather well now, getting closer to TC Esports in third. BS Competition move up to fourth, ahead of Verstappen Sim Racing, who are about to race in Group B. Community 1 there, moving up to the top 6 as well. But that's ahead of teams who are about to race again. Mals are going to race next. EMM are the ones who are really lagging behind here. They're the worst of those who are in the Group A that we've just seen. The 4 teams below them we're about to see for the first time tonight. It's really, I think, the favourite's going to be Verstappen Sim Racing versus Mals. But at the moment, based on last week's performance, it's difficult to see how Mals is going to break onto that front row, break into that top 2. But we'll have to see. Verstappen Sim Racing not quite in the same dominant form as Porsche Commander are, certainly.
I mean, I will say, with Mouse down in 7th position, from having watched last round and seeing it all unfold, I don't feel that their points haul is kind of a very clear indication as to where they are in this competition, because last round things just didn't really click for the team, even though the pace was very clearly there. Obviously, Max Benneker in race 2 in the Nürburgring race had great form, went off the road going through the chicane, the final chicane, and kind of when he rejoined was then spun round, dropped down to 10th position. It was not a great round for Max Benneker, despite having the pace. I think somewhere like here, I think the front of the field in this one is going to be a little bit tighter than it was in Group A. I suspect that we might see some close fighting between Verstappen and Mals.
I think I would drill down into that even further. I would say that it will be a battle between Siggy and Benneker, to be honest. I see those two in their pairings. I see those two as a slight step ahead of their other partner. Now, that doesn't mean that their teammate can't finish 2nd or 3rd or 4th, and that's still a very good point. So if your main guy goes on to win, however, it's not quite the same big 2, like I would say, for Porsche Commander, like that what they have with Collins and Rogers, and even to an extent with Dane Warren as well, who I thought was second best to Charlie Collins last week, but he still did do what he needed to do. I'll be really looking for Siggy and Benneker here, because I don't know what it is, because you've commentated on Moritz Lerner in other series going on right now in DTM. He's not lost his sim racing prowess. I just don't see where he's at with Rennsport at the moment. He just doesn't seem to quite be firing in the way that he used to on this platform anymore. And I don't know what that's down to, but it is holding Miles back a little bit.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those interesting ones. I brought this up, and Moritz hopefully is not listening to this part of the podcast. Just throwing him under the bus again and again and again. Brought it up last round. He's done 103 races in R1 competition, which is an awful lot. Quite a lot of drivers now have over 100. Obviously, we've had 300, and this will be the 356th race that we're going into here. Moritz Lerner has won just one of the 103 races he's done, and that was the 2nd race he ever did in the semi-finals back in Katowice. Obviously, 3 and a bit years ago. That's not a great start to the lap from Octavian Stan, who is a debut in this championship this round. Like I say, it just didn't. It's just not quite clicked for Lerner really outside of that. These cars, though, I think just because of how they are, I can see someone being almost off the pace, like for quite a few races, and then suddenly you hit that car track combo that just works. Moritz Lerner, I think, is one of them.
I know what you mean, but we've got a data set now that you just explained there that shows to us going into any race where there's only 11 competitors, he's got a less than 1% chance of winning. That's not good odds. I wouldn't be putting money on that. So yes, you're probably right. It will happen at some point. However, it was like Arsenal winning the league. It was going to happen one day. Just waiting for the.
No, yeah, it was just having to be so disappointing. It's fine.
I know how many years of heartbreak do we have to go through before it finally happens? Yeah, but it's the same thing. How many races does Rennsport have to have where has a bit of bad luck, a disappointing, not the right combination or whatever it is? How many rounds like that does he have to go through before the combination comes up and he wins? But as I say, the stats bear out that he enters each race where he's 1 in 12, and he's got a less than 1% chance of winning. I mean, that's not good odds.
Look, I just hope that when Rennsport does eventually win again this season, I do think he will, when he does eventually win again, that he will have earned it more than Arsenal did in the Premier League this season. We'll just leave that one there. Well, I don't know. It's, as an Arsenal fan, it's kind of watching it being like, it's kind of embarrassing, isn't it? That's fine. We're not here for football. We are here for golf. No, we're here for racing, of course. Octavian Stan, who we're seeing here, we're going to get a great look at this onboard through Indianapolis. Such a difficult corner, and when we see it on board with some of the very, very best in sim racing, it almost looks easy. It is not an easy corner. You've got this kink right where you kind of need to be a little bit pinned through it. Lifts a little bit before it makes sense. Sometimes a little bit easy. Sometimes you can leave it all the way pinned. At least you could in the LMP one day. It's not what it's like running one of these ones. But it used to be you had to be pinned to the other side of it and then brake, or you had to lift off before it and then go through and then brake. If you lifted off from the apex, we salute you, good soldier. You are gone. And
you will hit something. There's not much runoff down there at all. You will absolutely hit something through Indianapolis, but as you say, wonderfully committed pot corner. I must admit, I like this corner better. Porsche Kurtz, that's not maybe the best example of how to take it, but it's a wonderfully swooping corner, just down one gear in these hypercars, swooping into a right-hander. But this whole section is absolutely glorious to drive through before you get to the final chicanes, which are technical and challenging in their own way as well. It's been a great chance actually to stay on board for a whole lap and see Le Mans on Rennsport in one of these hypercars. With a full on-board lap with the version, including the chicanes on this occasion, through the final turns for Octavian Stan. What's the benchmark for the others going to be? 3:18s was the pole time last time round. We're in the 3:18s. 3:26.2. That will be beaten.
You would have to think so. Obviously, Benneker's already closed down a lot, considering we normally cut back to him a little bit further in lap. He's been flying through the sectors, although have been beaten a little bit further back. 3-minute 20.3 for Maximilian Benneker. I think there might be some faster times out here for pole position throughout this session.
It's Dominic Ladler, the other driver to Octavian Stan's team here. Surely go quicker, but again, this is a team that will do well to sort of be grabbing top fives in these races. They're certainly against some high quality opposition here with Verstappen Sim Racing and Mals both to come. Benito and Siggy still to come in a few drivers' time. Ladler does go better off than his teammate, 23.3.
Next up, it'll be Enrico Broniger, who is another one of the debutants for this round. Did not race last time, taking the Peugeot through this chicane sequence, through the forward chicanes up towards the line. That'll be around the 323s, 324s here for Broniger based on where he was. 322.6, nice one.
Yeah, nice. Best of the rest, I guess you'd say, alongside Maximilian Benneker, who's currently in the way. Daniel Ratte is next. First of another group that's going to come through. Tim Schroeder's going to be next, and then we'll get to the big contenders. I hope I'm not too rude by saying so. Benito and Siggy. Oh dear! Big slide through the penultimate turn, and a lap time that's probably going to match. Going towards the line, yeah, 28.2, and a shake of the head there as well.
Indeed, we won't be seeing one of the Referox cars, by the way, out in the session. Juho Suppanen has already effectively retired from the session. It will be a DNQ. Tim Schroeder through the final chicane up towards the line. It's a little bit awkward in that final complex, but still plenty fast enough. Had a lot of speed throughout the rest of that. Great lap there from Schroeder, 320.9.
Yeah, nicely done. That's perhaps the closest challenge, or a closer challenge, sorry, to Benneker than we were maybe expecting. But here comes Enzo Benito, the first of our two Verstappen Sim Racing drivers going up towards the line. Can they lock out the front row here? Oh, it's looking good. 3:19.5 from Benito. Now it's over to Kevin Siggy.
I mean, you were saying that it might be Beneke versus Siggy that we'll be talking about a little bit. I mean, Benito has fired his way ahead of the Mouse driver. We've got 4 left to go in this session. Kevin Siggy is plenty of space. We get to see the full commitment through the Porsche curves here. Beautifully hit of the first couple of apex up towards karting. It looks so incredibly fast, and these cars absolutely love seeing the brutality and the speed of the hypercars of the LMDHs going through that section onto the brakes and into the Porsche curves. Not using as much curb going into it as we were seeing from Porsche Commander during the race. Maybe we'll see that in a race session. Up towards the line from Kevin Siggy, the 2024 Esports World Cup champion. Across the line, 3:19.4, goes ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, I'm not surprised again that Siggy would get ahead of his teammate like that, but the fact that Benito is so close and able to challenge him so closely here with that lap time, he's only a tenth or so behind. That's very good news for Verstappen Sim Racing, especially considering they've nearly distanced by Maximilian Beneke by over a second, just under a second. Stan Vlitstra is going to be next for Referox, so one of the, the only driver for them. 5th place. It's a very good time from Tim Schroeder standing up very well here.
Indeed, 2 more times left to come. Oscar Soprich, who's heading himself down into that final complex in one of the new teams. Of course, the Simulation team that we'll be seeing throughout this season. Into that final complex, and out towards the line himself with the number 13. Lucky for some, unlucky for others. Not a great time, but unfortunately 3:24.7 puts him ahead of Octavian Stan and a little bit ahead of his teammate. 1 more time to come.
And it's Moritz Lerner who comes into the final 4 chicanes. A little bit fast on the way in the first part. He's gathered it back well though. Now fires through the final turn. Just a nice little bit of sliding. No reaction from him as he comes up towards the line. It's 5th position at 21.0. 7 tenths slower than Beneke, and in fact slower than Tim Schroeder as well in the 3rd community team. But it is I was about to say a Red Bull lockout. That's wrong as well. Verstappen Sim Racing lockout. Excuse me. Siggy ahead of Benito. Maximilian Beneke leading the charge for best of the rest. Tim Schroeder's time standing up very well to the challenge of even the likes of Moritz Lerner, who was 5th, and Stan Vlitstra, who was 6th. Enrico Brunninger is 7th, ahead of Dominic Ladler, Oscar Soprich, Octavian Stan, and Daniel Ratos, with Juho Sopanen not finishing that lap time for whatever reason. Referox driver will start from the very back. But it's a Verstappen Sim Racing lockout, and that's exactly what they have been hoping for. And now they'll try and control this race like Porsche Commander did in the previous one.
Indeed. This will be a bit of fun, I'm sure. We'll see if we can get a 1-2 from the Verstappen Sim Racing team, as we saw from Porsche Commander just in the previous race. Group B was far more open than Group A last round, courtesy of Porsche Commander not being in them. We'll see if this one's going to be the same case. I could see quite a few drivers up towards that top end that might be able to go on and win. Obviously, you've got your Benitos, you've got your Siggy. Tim Schroeder had a great qualifying session in there. Max Beneke's not a million miles behind once you get slipstream involved. Will we get that 3 wide like what we were seeing in the previous race?
Puzzled me really, because as I say, we saw that once, but then we didn't see it again. And also for the front guys, it didn't seem like the slipstream was very powerful, even though Josh Rogers said that it was a real draft track. It didn't appear like that early on for the leaders. Maybe they did need to be a little bit closer than what they actually were for that to really transpire. So let's wait and see here. But again, when it's a front 2 like that, it's so difficult to get past 2 who are working together. So either Beneke or Schroeder here, or somebody who's quite close in behind, has to sort of get in amongst it, get at least close, if not between them, and then try and do something from there. But it is going to be very difficult when someone's got a lockout like that.
Looking here at Beneke and, of course, Moritz Lerner, the Mouse duo. Gone out here in this practice session just to maybe get a feel for how the opening lap is going to be and how that slipstream is going to be. It's going to be such a tricky run. One of the awkward things in these cars, though, is that standing start. It's We kind of saw it a little bit, obviously, over the last few seasons stuff. We've had the standing starts in the GT3s, which has been a little bit odd. Standing starts in these, very, very odd.
Yes, they are, and that adds with it its own challenge. I don't mind it. I think it's a nice challenge to see these guys have to walk these cars off the line, something they wouldn't ordinarily do. They must have practiced it on the way in, I would have thought. Otherwise, that's a big part of the race that you're missing out on here, even at not the longest run in the world towards Turn 1, but still an important run. Here we go then. The first race for Group B here at round number 2 of Rennsport R1 this season. It's a Verstappen Sim Racing front row lockout here at Le Mans. Schroeder and Beneke on the next row as they get ready to go for race 1 of Group B. Here we go, off the line they go, and it's a very even start across the board for absolutely everybody. In towards turn number 1, and Schroeder pulling in front of what looks like Moritz Lerner here. Bit of a mixed up grid, it looks like. Benito ahead of Siggy, down on the braking zone they go into the first chicane. Schroeder will stay ahead of Lerner, will he? Not quite. They lean on each other, they make contact coming down the S's for the first time.
Indeed, Tim Schroeder ahead of Moritz Lerner here through the S's section. He's out wide a little bit, and the Mouse driver will get the advantage. Max Benneke's dropped back to 8th. Not a great start for the Mouse driver. Lights a blaze of Dominic Blyer's car, it seems. Look at that, Dominic Blyer. I see Dominic and I see an LER. I'm like, yeah, that's Blyer. Dominic Ladler. Those are bright. Middle of the night colour lights, that is. Damn.
Yeah. I'm nearly done the same, by the way, so I'm glad you're the first one. But yeah, here comes Tim Schroeder outside of Lerner. This is just going to allow the VSR drivers to get away, and they will do. With a battle like this, Lerner holds on to third place in front of Schroeder, then it's Stan Blitzscher, then Bruniger, then Beneke, who's in trouble here. Max Benneke's in trouble. He's dropping down the field, and I don't know where he is. There he is. He's just cut through the first chicane. He's shaking his head. He's laughing. Possibly ironically at how badly this race has started.
Yeah, you don't think he's loving life back there. Max Beneke is someone who comes to these events to win. Obviously won the first ever event. Well, not the first ever race, but did win the first ever event that we did in Rennsport R1. He likes to take some victories. Alas, I'm sure those laughs are more from hysteria than actual happiness. I think he's probably a little bit annoyed about what's happened there. Obviously, we didn't catch it, but I'm going to suspect that was not a solo incident.
No, I would guess so, based on the reaction mainly for Max Beneke there. He's all the way down in 11th, so Mal's not maybe getting the most out of what they could here from this first race. But I mean, look at Verstappen Sim Racing out front. They are getting the maximum out of this now, but there's the points at the end, or coming towards the end of the first lap. Verstappen Sim Racing 22 behind Porsche Coanda at the moment. They would be getting past GC Sports, but look at the lack of strength of this group compared to the previous one. Only one of the top 5 made up of a team from this group. It is a very big difference, that, in terms of the quality of the groups.
And remember, of course, you need to be one of the top 6 teams to move through into the final. It was a very disappointing start to the season from Referox. We're riding on board with Stan Vliestra, who's looking to get some decent points onto the board for the team. They came into this round 12th in the points. They're already overtaking the Rennsport Community 2 team. They're not that far behind EMM, who obviously only scored 3 points from the previous race. Stan Vliestra onto the back of Tim Schroeder. 4th position could be very important. Obviously, Tim Schroeder is only about 7 or 8 tenths behind Moritz Lerner. They're still in the podium fight. They've pulled away from the Simnation PXM Racing duo of Daniel Rattite and Oscar Sopridge. They're about a second and a bit off, so they won't be receiving the full effect of the slipstream, but you can still see some of these gaps close up later on through the race.
We might well do. Not this one, I would imagine. These two are going to get away very, very comfortably, I would say. It's just a question now of who's going to win the race. Will it be Benito? Will it be Siggy? At the moment, Benito's in danger of actually pulling away entirely in this battle between the two teammates. As here is Max Beneke. Now his run back through the field begins, and he has got past a couple of drivers. He was down in 11th at worst. And that's Juho Soppanen just in front. Soppanen coming from the back of the field after not qualifying. now in the sights of Max Benecke on this recovery drive.
I don't think that Benecke can get much more than 8th position, really, because obviously these are such short races. Once he's got past Opponent, he'll obviously have a 4-second margin up towards Opponent. You could close it down. I mean, Benecke is definitely fast enough, and an angry Benecke could be a very fast target indeed. He'll find his way past Juho Supplin, dropping the Ferox a single point, a single position down. Onto the brakes, into the chicane, using all the road on the left-hand side. Flicks his way through. Now, what does the Peugeot do off this corner? Obviously, a much better exit there from the Rouse driver, and he should be safe going down into the second chicane on the Mulsanne.
You can tell he's looking in the mirrors there, just moving it over, just to try and break as much of the slipstream as he can to Juho Supplin here. And he's successfully managing that. And he should consolidate the place now into the second chicane. There we go. Nowhere near Supplin here. So, you know, it's not massive slipstream here. It's not overbearing, but there is something still there for those who are a little bit faster. I think it's probably got the balance just about right. You know, you absolutely need a big slipstream for Le Mans because it's the Mulsanne straight, whatever. But you don't want it to overshadow the races and make it almost into a sort of NASCAR super speedway style race. And I think that balance is being struck here.
NASCAR super speedway racing with LMDH as hypercars. That is
coming up next.
Probably a recipe for disaster. Probably coming up next in. If you think Le Mans is fast now, hold on a second now, big boy. Yeah, we're going to be going pretty quick around this circuit. We'll obviously cover that off in a few moments' time. We're keen to see. I'm pretty sure it's just the removal of the chicanes on the Mulsanne. We've not seen it, so we're maybe in for a bit of a shock. Maybe they just run the 1966 layout and it's just straights everywhere.
I was going to say, I once did a broadcast, must have been a couple of years ago, maybe longer, on another simulator, which was a very old layout of Le Mans, maybe even earlier than that, and the speeds were unbelievable at the Mulsanne kink. Obviously, basically no downforce because we were using cars from that era as well. And I mean, you can imagine some of the crashes. I've never seen anything like it. And at the circuit itself, I mean, the evolution of this racetrack especially is such a fascinating one. If you look at the history of racetracks or whatever, it's a wonderful place to look through as to how it's changed down the years. Even in the last 20 years or so, this track has undergone one or two changes.
Yeah, including the bridge being changed from Dunlop to Goodyear, but that's fine. I think, whoa, off the road, there goes Supplin and just clatters Dominic Ladler. He's able to keep going. Supplin's going to drop back to 11th position. The first ever time I did a 24-hour of Le Mans race around here, there was no S. Well, so the build that we were using had no S section. So you'd go up over the top of the hill, obviously at turn one. Obviously it was a Dunlop chicane. You go through that, drop down the hill, go in a straight line, and then just go left, then right, and then through Tetra Rouge and back. There was no like S section to take you through it. You still had the course curves and stuff. The thing is, the cars we were using were so broken. We were doing, I think it was 390 kilometers an hour down into this chicane here. Let me tell you, as much as there was obviously a lot of downforce on those cars, there clearly wasn't that much, because at the times we were still doing were around like the 3-minute 12s, which obviously is rapid around here, fair enough. But when you think about it, the fact that we were topping out of those speeds, the brakes were horrendous. But yeah, that probably the fastest car I've ever driven. With slipstream, you could just about get over the 400 mark.
Is that LMP1 days?
It was LMP1, but broken LMP. It was a mod, and a very broken one.
I can't remember watching like a long time ago. I don't want to mention it. You know,
it was 2000. Oh my god! Oh, it was. Wow. Yeah. Touche. Yeah, it was 10 years ago. All right.
Oh, I was going to go longer, so that's fine. I'll take that. 10 years ago. Yeah, to be honest with you, I actually preferred that chicane instead of the Tetra Rouge S's, I must admit. Thought it was a bit better. Also, it was in keeping with the previous layout, which that chicane there instead of the Tetra Rouge S's had been there for a very, very, very long time before the Tetra Rouge S's had been in there. Even before the first chicane, before you went under what was the Dunlop Bridge. That chicane was after the first corner, which was sort of how it is now, but just a bit longer and certainly higher speed.
I mean, I don't mind the S's. I don't mind. I'm perfectly acceptable. They're just, the thing is, they're just a bit of a nothing. You know what I mean? You just go through there, it's like, yeah, they're there. they're pretty fun, but it's like they're not exactly. You're not making up a load of time going through them. You know, you're flat out and hitting some apex. It's like, yeah, cool. It's just like doing a qualifying run at Indianapolis. It's not that hard. As much as Arjuna wants to tell you that it's really difficult.
Also, sorry, Arjuna, it's just not that interesting. Sorry.
A qualifying run at Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of the most boring things in motorsport, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it is. It's really bad. I'll watch it come Sunday afternoon. I'll watch it, but before then, you won't see me sitting down to watch people go in a square. Sorry.
Golf course on the inside, so that's fine, right?
Even I might prefer golf in that scenario.
Wow. Well, to be fair, you watch the Masters, it's all right. Enzo Benito leading the race there. We'll bring it back onto some form of topic. I'm trying to look at when the last victory it was for Enzo Benito. Must have won last season.
Well, you say that. He's not been in brilliant form in the last couple of years. He started out quite well, I remember, but in the last couple of years, I don't think he's quite been in the same form. And based on last week, I was going to say sort of that's continued, but actually so far tonight, I don't know whether he's just getting on with Le Mans really well, or whether something deeper is happening here, but Enzo Benito is absolutely back, and he looks like he's going to be back on the top step very, very soon. Further back, we said that Max Benneker would be, or you said and I agreed, that Max Benneker would be 8th place at best. Well, he has just about enough time to catch up to Oscar Soprich for 7th place, and he's going to take that position. It looks like there's only 1 point available for that, but every one of them is going to matter at 4 miles coming the end of the season, because they're not that comfy inside the top 6 right now. And oh, he's been hit! Max Benneker's been hit, and Oscar Soprich misjudges his braking zone, costing Max Benneker and surely Soprich himself even more points here. Soprich forced to go through the chicane. Benneker now gets going again. Enrico Brunninger's going to be the one who really gains out of this. Soprich might slow and let Benneker through. If he does or doesn't, he might well be receiving a penalty in the midweek anyway.
I mean, he's going to get a whopper of a penalty for that one. Max Benneker could not catch a break into that chicane. Smacked again. Really should be in 7th position. Mouse needing those points. Feel really bad for Benneker there. He's actually had a really good recovery drive throughout this race, but obviously, yeah, luck not going his way. I'm sure there will be a penalty there for Soprich on that one. I mean, let's be honest, it's definitely his fault. Slam dunk on that one. We'll say, looking at some of the statistics of last season, Enzo Benito did 15 races, won 3 of them, and had podiums in 3 other ones. So had a podium of 6 races out of 15. That's not a bad percentage, to be fair. 3 of those victories, 2 of them were at the Hockenheim Ring, and his last victory was in the semi-final at Daytona in the 2025 online season. Certainly not a poor performance from Enzo Benito, but like I say, he's certainly enjoying things now, isn't he? Oh,
yeah.
Is that Memphis in the background, or is just weaving?
Might just be weaving, I think, in celebration. Yeah, it's just one of these perceptions I think I've managed to concoct within my own head that he's not in great form at the moment. Because yeah, you're right, he's not going badly in terms of the rate wins that he's having at the moment. Last year, sorry, I should say, in R1, but there you are. He's going to get to the top here at Le Mans, and comfortably as well. He didn't take pole, but he was close, and he's absolutely dominated this race. His teammates, of course, with Siggy, who's going to 1-2 with him here, but nevertheless, he's absolutely blown his teammate out the water. Through the final chicanes, Enzo Benito wins race 2 of the night and race 1 in Group B here in Rennsport R1 for round number 2. No reaction. He knows there's more to do because Verstappen Sim Racing, despite the 1-2 tonight, are still 22 points behind Porsche Coanda, and there's nothing they can do to close that tonight unless Porsche Coanda mess up themselves. But Benito and Siggy doing all they can in race 1. Oh my word! And that is Daniel Rettes. Slow and stopped in the final 4 chicanes. Benneker will get his 7th after all.
Benneker's probably driving through that being like, what are these clowns doing back here, man? What is going on? For one of the... I want to say ironically most level-headed people in sim racing. But Max Beneke, you know, he will wear his heart on his sleeve, and he'll tell you how it is. I'm sure he's probably going to be going into the chat for this, just to be like, do you want to tidy it up a little bit, boys? What's going on?
I think that's what the hysterical laughing was about.
Yeah.
After the first incident, but there you are. Benito and Siggy, it is 3 seconds between them at the end of race 1. Moritz Lerner does end up with a podium, flying the flag for miles on this occasion. Tim Schroeder with a solid result there for the third community team, RaceSpot with Stan Fleetstrike at a top 5. Enrico Brunninger gifted that 6th place really at the end there. Maximilian Beneke gifted that 7th place. Oscar Sopridge did let him through in the end. Dominic Ladler wasn't quite close enough to take advantage, and Daniel Rates had that incident through the final chicanes to drop him to 10th. Juho Soppanen initially started well but dropped back to 11th after not qualifying, and Octavian Stan rounds out the 12 drivers who were in that first race of the day for Group B. We'll wait for Enzo Benito to get into the booth, and we'll chat to him in a moment. But yeah, a very solid race from him, especially given the way that he distanced his teammate Siggy. Because to be fair, although Rogers won that first race, he didn't do the same thing to Charlie Collins.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, look, Siggy is one of the absolute best in this competition. Yes, of course, that's more so looking towards his run in the GT3. So we are in a sort of very new era here of R1. And Kevin Siggy did take a victory last week at the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps in his opening race. Finished in 4th position in the second race for Enzo Benito, though. Very much outclassed him there. I wonder how much of that was Kevin Siggy getting in second position and being like, all right, do you know what? I'll fight. I'll try and keep close. If we're not keeping close tonight, it's fine. We'll just roll through and grab ourselves second position. At the end of the day, as much as Kevin Siggy does like taking victories, one thing I've always noted about him, and it's actually one thing that's why Red Line have been one of the teams beat, kind of works the same way for Porsche Commander as well. All of the drivers are capable of winning races for both teams, for Verstappen Racing and for Porsche Commander, but they're also very good, all of them are very good at being a team player and being a number 2 driver and playing the game for the team, understanding this is a team competition, not a driver's one. They're all very good at it.
It certainly is a team competition. We can chat to one of the drivers now, though. Enzo Benito, winner tonight in race 1 for Group B. Enzo, congratulations on your first win of the season. Put that same question to you. How much of that race between you and Kevin was a full-on fight? How much of the two of you were you fully pushing, or was that an agreement between the two of you that you would finish in that order?
Well, I mean, nothing special really. Kevin just missed the start a little bit, not optimal, and I got in front, so he was just following. If Kevin were to get a better start, then it would have been the other way around, and I would have just followed him. So yeah, it's a win for me and Kevin. Really, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I take it anyway. So.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, 1-2, and we keep moving.
Absolutely, especially after last week for yourself, 5th and 6th place in last week's races. Is that because you are sort of more to the liking of Le Mans this week, or is it something special about last week? What would you say is the difference so far between these two performances?
Well, we got shunted in the last races, so I mean, we started 1 and 2, but during the race, like we did here, like in both Spa and Nürburgring, but unlike here in the other races, we had a bit of a mess in turn 1 from the guys from behind. But yeah, I mean, Le Mans is a track I always liked anyway. I think it's fun, especially with really fast cars. So it's good that we have 2, right? Next one is even better.
Well, is it even better with no chicanes?
Yeah, hopefully we don't get, again, dived at the end of the straight, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Enzo, congrats on the win in race 1 tonight. Thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Enzo Benito. And teammate Kevin Siggy also joins us for a quick word as well. Kevin, I put the same question to you, just Enzo explaining there how that race was settled between the two of you off of the start. Just tell us about that launch off the line from your perspective and that opening lap.
Yeah, I mean, it was horrific, right? As you saw, I by accident had traction control on, so that wasn't ideal. So, I mean, otherwise, yeah, just had a clean race from start to finish, so nothing to complain.
it means you maximise points from race 1, but you can't close the gap to Porsche Coanda with them also taking the maximum points from race 1. How is it to be racing in a points battle like that with other teams, 6 other teams who are not in your group each week because obviously the way the format works?
I mean, it's difficult to say until you go against each other, but I mean, I don't know the rules in fine detail, but I'm not sure if the points really matter so long as you're top 6. So I mean, as much as we can get, that's what we're gonna take. So for next time, it's just try and be 1-2 every single time. So yeah, that's it.
Good luck for getting that in race 2 as well, Kevin. Thanks for chatting to us at the end of race 1, and congrats on 2nd place.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kevin Siggy. Part of that 1-2 for Verstappen Sim Racing, which brings them to that 2nd place in the point standings, as we just saw. Meantime, the 2nd qualifying session of the 1st group begins, Lewis, and we get to see what a fast Le Mans looks like, because the other one was too slow.
It's actually always what I think. Every time I watch Le Mans, I think, it would be good if this track was just a little bit quicker. If there was just, if there was less corners, if there was just more straights, that's exactly what you want. This race with the slipstream is going to be absolutely mental. Like, if there was a race that I was pretty confident that there is going to be an absolute whopper coming down from Moleside Corner. Because the thing is as well, I say that about the speed, right? They are surely going to be straight into the limit. They're going to be doing this whole thing at like 205 miles an hour.
Let's see.
325k.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's about 205.
Yeah, they're not quite on the limiter yet. I can't hear it anyway. I guess you're right though that it wouldn't take too much slipstream for them to get there, I suppose.
Yeah. Also, I guess it's one of those ones where I remember those 328. There is 205. If you did, you don't want to bounce off the limiter. So even if you could hold the throttle all the way down and bounce the limiter, you actually don't want to do that. You almost want to be driving a little bit throttle off, because if you bounce the limit, you actually slow down a little bit more. I don't know if that's the case with this car. That's my experience in other cars. When it comes to getting close to the limit, especially racing around Thruxton. That means this braking zone, by the way, is going to be horrible. These brakes are going to be freezing by the time you get into the brakes down here.
And remember, when you're picking your braking mark, that you've been doing the whole Mulsanne straight without braking, rather than just from the 2nd chicane, which you're coming off at a bit less speed coming towards Mulsanne Corner there, but Sobrero did remember, and he gets through all fine. So yeah, no chicanes on the back straight. But I would sort of maybe put up a question mark as to whether it's going to be quite what we're imagining in the slipstream, because again, I saw in both of those first races, if you break, or even through the first chicane and the S's on the first lap, if you break away enough, I think there's enough, even on a straight like that, for you to get a gap on even lap 1 and you to get away. Maybe I'm getting overexcited, but I think there is enough in that first sector, even on lap 1, for you to get away early, like we saw Porsche Coanda and Verstappen Sim Racing do in that one with chicanes.
Yeah, potentially. And I say it's a tricky one for us to know. I still think we're going to have ourselves a breakaway winner, but I don't know exactly how far the slipstream is. Probably about 1.2 seconds where you're getting like the slipstream, a little bit of an effect of it. Once you're right behind someone, like I said, we're definitely going to get some 3 wide on that stretch. That's what I know. Sobrero's working his way into the final sector. What is his first lap time going to be?
And what is the benchmark going to be from David Sobrero as he comes through the final 4 chicanes now? Can he get this a little bit more correct? He's passed over all the curves there, but it wasn't bad as he comes up towards the line now. Obviously can't mark the times against what we saw earlier, because that would have been pole in any class at 3:06.8, but let's wait for the others to see where they can get to.
Obviously rear wing planted back onto the Peugeot. Looks more like a generic hypercar. I actually quite liked the other wing. I actually prefer it with the wing. Hugo Luis thinks this car is ugly as sin, our broadcast director for this round.
Horrific.
Completely disagree with the pair of you.
Sorry. I meant horrific opinion. I like the way it looks.
Okay, that's fine. 313, that would have been all right in the previous session, less so in this one from Caruana. No, I think it's great, that car. I don't care about him, boys. Love the guy. But Do you know what? I'm going to say it is the best looking of the 3 cars we've got out of action today.
Because this is the older BMW, yes, I agree. I quite like the newer one, but yeah, I agree. If you want to look at generic, by the way, have a look at this Porsche. Just saying. Anyway, Cody Nikolakowski towards the line, see whether he can challenge, just like his teammate did actually. Cristiano Giannotta not doing too badly there at all with a 307.4 through the final corner now. Bit of a slide on the way out, but you do have to get the rear end out a little bit over the line, and it's a 307.8, so the teammate's quite well matched there.
Joshua Rogers then victorious earlier on in the day, 45th victory in Rennsport R1 competition. Can he take himself a 46th? He's number 1 on the all-time winners list for a reason. Through the chicane he's going to go up towards the line, 306.8 to beat. Sobrero is the target, 305.9, goes a second faster. Fantastic lap there from Rogers.
And it's just Porsche Coanda domination continuing on again here. Charlie Collins surely going to do something similar. He took pole in race number 1 tonight, led Porsche Coanda to another 1-2, flying through these final chicanes. He's got this absolutely nailed. Through out of the final turn. Is it going to be in the 305s as well? Is it going to be even quicker than his teammate? It is! Collins wins the teammate battle for the second qualifying session in a row.
Yeah, indeed. It means it'll be 4 consecutive pole positions for Charlie Collins to start the 2026 season. It won't be 4 consecutive victories. Even if he can grab this one, it would be 3 from the 4. It was a disappointing run from the EMM team in the previous race. Matt Caruana's not exactly continued on in great form with 313.6 out towards the line. Will Chadwick goes with a 7.7 into 5th position.
Right in the midfield, but at least he's better off than Matt Caruana. EMM really do need to start scoring some points here. Struggled so far this season. Here's Maximilian Den towards the final 4 chicanes. So you see how much more gingerly they're taking it here than the Porsche Coanda guys who are just flying through here in the same manufacturer. Den goes up just to 6th place there with a 7.7.
Kaiki Oliveira, 9th on there, the 9th car to come round. The great performance onto the podium in the previous one, and you get the feeling if he can qualify around 3rd with how the slipstream's going to work around here, you'd suspect he might have a decent opportunity of stealing away a victory. Kaiki Oliveira through the final chicane, bit of oversteer off of the final corner, rear end sliding around a little bit, and it'll only be 4th position. It'll start behind Sobrero at least.
Whoa! What about his teammate Jack Keithley? That was close. And he'll surely join his teammate, I would imagine, based on the pace that we've seen Jack Keithley show so far this season over the final curbs for the final time. You really want to avoid that final one, and he has done nicely there through the final turn. I think this will be 3rd for Jack Keithley, and it's 4th. He's behind his teammate, but just in front of Kaiki Oliveira.
Wow, just in front. Imagine that, 3 minutes. There's 187 seconds of driving, and 1,000th of a second separates the 2 cars. Incredible stuff. Robbie Stapleford sees his teammate up in 5th position for BS competition. Knows there's some decent points on the table here this round. They scored decently in the previous race this evening. Across the line, instead of 308.3, that is a poor lap time from the Stapler.
Yeah. It's interesting how many less slowdown laps we've had, by the way, since removing those chicanes. Just show where all the slowdowns were being concentrated in the previous qualifying sessions. Perhaps Matt Caruana, the only one who's really been slow abnormally. Nico Nuno, not impressed with himself very much as he comes across the line there, but it's still top half. That's not a bad lap time.
Yeah, devastating lap time there from Nico Nunninghoff. Obviously, I remember you on the round where we were racing at Orchard Road. No one was happy with their lap time that they set, and they were all right, actually.
Yeah, so much anger in these guys. Lighten up a bit. Anyway, Charlie Collins has taken the pole once again, beating his teammate Josh Rogers. Never Sobrero and Jack Keithley are on the next row, so it's the same top 4, I think, maybe in a different order. Kaiki Oliveira rounds out the top 5, Nico Nunninghoff in the top half, Cristiano Giannotta with a great lap time for the Community Team 1. Then William Chadwick leading the EMM charge from 8th again. Maximilian Den is 9th for Cody Nikolakowski, Robbie Stapleford, Matt Caruana rounding out the field. No surprises there, really, I don't think, but there may be surprises within this race. If the slipstream is as major as we're hoping for, coming down the Mulsanne straight, such a long straight in this layout, then that increases the scope drastically, really, for surprises in this race.
Yeah, I mean, no major shocks. Maybe Robbie Stableford being a bit out of spot. That's going to be the main one. He'll need to focus, try and drag his way through. There is Stableford. I mean, if not, I mean, TCE Sports, they kind of need to take advantage of this race. Obviously, in the previous race, had a couple of issues. Let's be honest, they've scored enough points in the opening couple of races back in a week ago. They can afford to necessarily have like a couple of bad rounds, but if you want to be in the top 6, which is the important bit, we were hearing that from Kevin Siggy earlier, it doesn't necessarily matter where you are in that top 6, it's about being inside of it. I think just for safety, they really do need to just get another couple of points, decent point scores onto the board, not worry about it too much, not be too worried about where that cut line is going to be, because they've clearly got the spin.
Yeah, indeed. Here's a bit of an idea as to what the slipstream might look like, by the way, and how far behind you have to be. Maybe a little bit unfair to look at it like this, but there's the Mulsanne King that does look so different coming at that speed towards it. See what this looks like on the opening lap. Maybe the 3 wide moment that wasn't repeated in race 1 of Group B. Maybe we are going to see one of those coming through that kink there, coming towards and down the Mulsanne Straight. It's going to be very interesting to find out, but a fascinating layout to bring into R1 here.
Surely the gearing, because obviously it does seem, at least from what we were seeing qualifying, the gearing really takes up to like 328. Maybe in slipstream you might be able to get into the 330s, the early 330s. I get a feeling that it's going to be that kind of thing where everyone's slipstreaming off each other, just bouncing off the limiter. So everyone's just going to be like a slow pack, an extremely fast pack, slowly moving on each other, rather than obviously using an unbelievable slipstream to fly past before you've even got down into Mulsanne Corner.
Isn't it amazing how Mulsanne Straight makes these cars look so slow because it is so long?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a thought that you might have watching this race as we take out the chicanes and we go racing again at Le Mans for a second time in one night. And look at the launch from Charlie Collins. Either he's jumped the start there or he's at the start of his life. That's unbelievable. He pulls away from the field to the tune of nearly a second here. The teammates of TCE Sports are going to have to tuck into line amongst themselves and quickly get in behind Josh Rogers now as they come through the first chicane. A spin in the background meantime. Who's that gone round? It's Cristiano Giannotta, it looks like. And that's a real shame after qualifying so well up in 7th place.
Yeah, that's a very big disappointment there from Giannotta. Lights on Nico Nuningov's car. Yep, Chadwick's gone round. Caruana's gone off with him. Frustration from Caruana. He's not a happy boy behind the wheel for Chadwick rather, and he's dropped down to 12th position for Caruana and Chadwick. This is not the round for them. EMM having a torrid time here at Le Mans.
And a miserable season, in all honesty. It's been terrible for them so far. Now then, the Mulsanne Straight is not quite going to be what we imagined, given the trouble that we've had here. Now the TCE Sport drivers are getting together, so there is a bit of overspeed here. There is a bit of slipstream. Can Keithley slingshot past his team? Maybe not. No, this could be difficult. So he's got alongside his teammate. Oh, what do you do here? Rogers is just staying in behind Collins, who, by the way, I can't believe he didn't jump the start there. It's unbelievable launch that he got.
I like how, obviously, Jack Keithley's dropped back into the slipstream, picked up a little bit of it, and then gone, I'm faster. No, I'm not. Back into the slipstream I go. I think the only thing you can really do here, and I'm sure it's been outlawed, so you guess you can't do it, is bump drafting. But let's be honest, bump drafting in these kind of cars, really not a good idea. As Robbie Stableford drops behind Cody Nikola Latkovsky to the outside of Mulsanne Corner, he's going to go, but a muscling between the two of them. I didn't realise we were watching touring car racing here. They were giving it a good go there.
They certainly were, and they're still side by side. Cody Latkovsky being given the slipstream by Nico Nuninghoff here, who's clear who he wants to win. Now he's pulling in front of Robbie Stableford even, who will surely drag past now on the way towards Indianapolis, and indeed does so in towards Indianapolis. He is 7th place, so they settle in here. But yeah, this is spreading out quickly. This is, not the slipstreaming fight we're expecting. Latkovsky sliding there through Indianapolis, back here in this group.
Yep, the Macedonian really putting the power down, sliding off the corner. Charlie Collins building a nearly 7/10 margin here on the opening lap. Porsche Commander aiming for their 4th consecutive 1-2 finish, 144 points, leaving yet another round with the perfect score. They have been so impressive so far this season. Almost, well, I say almost unbeatable, completely unbeatable, to the point where even if Verstappen Sim Racing were in the same group, I'm not fully convinced they'd be able to do it.
Yeah, same. I think it's going to be very difficult for Verstappen Sim Racing given the season start they've had. But who knows what's going to happen at the final? It looks like they're both going to make it. That's what the early indications are from this part of the season. As they make their way over the line, end of lap 1. It's really a fight best of the rest, and David Sobrero currently leading that fight at the moment in front of Jack Keighley, then Kike Oliveira. Keighley, I think, just needs to accept on finishing 4th here and just make sure that they finish 3rd and 4th here as a team, because Kike Oliveira is not far back, and neither is Nurninghoff, Stapleford, Latkovsky as well.
Indeed. Through the SS section, big hit onto the curb there from Kike Oliveira, and sliding coming out of the SS section now through Tete Rouge into the slipstream with the Porsche 963 of Jack Keighley ahead of him. Just a little bit of a gap back to Nico Nurninghoff, and you'd suspect maybe there isn't going to be the opportunity for Nurninghoff to go for anything. I think just because of the gearing alone, like the slipstream's obviously more than enough, but these are fixed setups on these cars. They're not allowed to change the gearing, and so I suspect that everyone's just basically smashing these cars into the rev limiter, as Stableford does at least grab the slipstream of Nico Nurninghoff ahead and finds his way past Cody Latkovsky, who stares at the rear end of the BMW now. Probably go for something maybe down here into Mulsanne corner. If not, he will sit behind and think, well, I'll just follow you around there, don't worry about it.
It's going to have to be on the brakes. Nurninghoff is just close enough to be offering up a slipstream, but not close enough quite for Stapleford to be giving him a hard time into Mulsanne corner, I don't think. What's Latkovsky going to do? Is he going to be on the brakes here? He's going to sort of do it late on here. I don't think he should give up totally on making the move like he just did there, but certainly give up on trying to do it actually on the straight itself, because as you say, everybody reaches terminal velocity and they cannot go any faster really. Latkovsky in that boat at the moment in 8th place. He's all closing up behind Sobrero, but now maybe is a better opportunity. This is towards Indianapolis. This is where they're not bouncing off the limiter quite so much, but there is still slipstream flying about here, so Nurninghoff effectively giving it to whoever he wants at the moment, and Stapleford is getting it and therefore staying in front in 7th place. A frustrating moment here frustrating race for Latkovsky right now.
Yeah, I mean, but that was smart driving from Cody Latkovsky to get the side-by-side with Robbie Stableford and think, Indianapolis probably isn't the right one for it, and backs out just such to allow Stableford to come back through. I agree, he probably shouldn't have backed out of it completely. It's Will Chadwick, more problems here. I don't think he's, again, much like what we saw from Max Benneker in the previous race. I think the laughter's probably a bit more of in irony rather than in enjoyment.
That's more smiling than I've seen any race winner do in one of these races, I must say. They seem to find...
Why are they always miserable when they win races?
I don't know. They seem to find losing funnier.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Strange creatures.
Which, if that were the case, I should love driving in sim racing, because I'm just a big old loser. But, it's fine. Don't worry
what a phrase.
Don't worry about it.
Fair enough. Meantime, Keighley at the front of this group again for 5th. He's left his team. When I said he needs to try and help Sobrero finish 3rd and himself finish 4th, it's not quite what I had in mind, to be honest. He's now invited a lot of pressure, and because he's not got the slipstream of Sobrero, he's going to be under more threat, I think, from the likes of Kike Oliveira. We've seen this sort of drawing level thing going on here, and people not being able to pass others because I think they've had the slipstream of those up ahead, but Keighley doesn't have that, so he might be in a bit of trouble with Oliveira by the end of this straight.
Yeah, indeed. It seems like making those moves is actually just quite difficult and quite frustrating for some of the drivers. I mean, obviously Porsche Guanda, they've gone again. They've checked out 3.8 seconds. You've got 9 odd seconds clear. Obviously they're running away with things as we saw in the previous race.
He's going for it though, Oliveira, or is he staying behind? He's definitely got the opportunity here, as at Stapleford. So this is getting interesting now. There is a region at which he can be close to, but look at them. they're not using the speed that they have here. Instead, they're staying in a line, and I mean, Latkovsky's got no choice here. Stableford's actually putting on quite a good defensive shape at the moment to actually stay in the middle here. And what's going to happen here when they get onto the brakes? Now he's going for it. This is the right moment for Latkovsky. He's going for it on the way towards the Mulsanne corner itself, trying to do it on the brakes here. He's on the outside line. He's not going to be given too much room by Stableford, who wants to keep the position, and they all stay as they were, but that was a bit more promising that time as far as side by side.
Look, it was a good attempt. We've got a great little battle here between Keith Lee, Keke Oliveira, Nico Nunninghoff, Robbie Stableford and Cody Nikola Latkovsky as they remain exceptionally close. Jack Keithley at the head of it. Probably a fair amount of pressure on his shoulders. Keke Oliveira is going to look for something here going towards Indianapolis. To the inside he goes. Bit of a hip check between the pair of them. Great move there. Can he hang it onto the road? Big snap of oversteer there from Keke Oliveira, and Jack Keithley just holds on. That was incredible. Down the inside of Arnage. That one's surely not going to go over. Keithley's off the road.
Oh, and it's a big side for Oliveira. He's getting bashed back all which way. There's balls flying through the air again as Robbie Stableford makes contact with it. He's going backwards. PS Competition in trouble again here. Losing points again on the way to the Porsche Curse. There's Latkovsky making the move that he's been waiting to make for minutes on end here. Now he's on the inside. Stableford and Oliveira on the outside, running out of space through the Porsche Curse side by side. I don't believe it. They're still managing it, these two. Nunninghoff and Stableford with one of the battles of the season. This will be hard to beat, that's for sure. Robbie Stableford manages to get into 5th place. The most exciting battle for 5th you're ever going to see. Side by side through the Porsche Curse, unbelievable. And it might well pave the way for his teammate Keke Oliveira to go through. He's not going to risk it over the curbs. He'll stay behind for now. Wow, what a fight that was. One of the best we've seen in Rennsport R1.
That came out of absolutely nowhere. Love that. What a battle there. Obviously, the Keithley Oliveira side by side there. Robbie Stableford getting with Nico Nunninghoff. Now the outside look coming in from Keke Oliveira there. Really giving it a good go there on the penultimate lap heading on to the final. Cody Nikola Latkovsky were on board with dropping down the hill through the S's section. This 5-car group has certainly started to splinter a touch, but wow, what a bit of racing. Whilst all that went on, by the way, the slipstream went the way of Joshua Rogers, who's has taken over the race lead for Porsche Coan. That was on the previous lap. Obviously, we were understandably very focused on what we were doing. Can Charlie Collins get it back? Or the slipstream? I think he might.
Well, he had the chance. Obviously, Rogers was now in his slipstream, so it would be a straight fight between the two, but just not yet. Rogers and Collins just nose to tail all the way down here. Nunninghoff and Oliveira nose to tail as well, as Latkovsky's with them here at the moment further back as well. So yeah, it's hard to know where to look right now. That fight between those three though in the background was just absolutely fantastic, and culminated through the Porsche Curse on that lap. See if these two repeat that. I can't imagine they'll be playing such a risk with one another. There's the split screen, there's the three on the right hand side, and the pair of them, the Porsche Coanda drivers on the left. They're staying as they are, teammates running line astern, but these guys are not teammates, and they're not acting like it. That was close. That was Oliveira this time. He's taking up the role that Stableford had in this group early on. Now he's challenging Nunninghoff. Latkovsky right behind. It's like watching a replay, but with Stableford replaced by Oliveira out of the corner, 3 wide, coming down towards Indianapolis.
Oh, I kind of want to look away at the moment, but I can't take my eyes off him. 3 wide towards Indianapolis. This one's not going to work. Cody Nikola Latkovsky's picked off the pair of them. It's going to be side by side between Nico Nunninghoff and Keke Oliveira. Although the slipstream has gone the way of Nunninghoff, he's picked it up from Cody Nikola Latkovsky, who's now got under attack. Nunninghoff to the inside, Latkovsky to the outside. There's the big moment. That's what we were talking about happening a few times through this race. We've avoided it all the way through until now. But a big moment there from Nico Nunninghoff and a slam into the barrier through Indianapolis.
Absolutely, you've mentioned it time and again that where you have to take Indianapolis there on the inside, it's very, very difficult to avoid that kind of thing happening. Nunninghoff there has cost himself some positions here. The Grandmaster, Rennsport Grandmaster team are going to be losing points as a result, but they're still ahead of BS competition from this group, and they're still on 74, a good 22 above the cut line at the moment. Meantime, Charlie Collins is going to split the day with Josh Rogers. It's Porsche Coanda dominating again here in Rennsport R1. Charlie Collins comes through the final chicanes to win once again. He beats Josh Rogers by about a second. Porsche Coanda, 144 points out of 144. They have had the best possible start through 2 weeks of this season.
for Charlie Collins. It will be a victory that will move him into the top 10 of the all-time winners list in Rennsport R1. 3 victories this season, so the most of anyone so far in 2026 as we see the rest of them across the line. Great race there for TC, 3rd and 4th. Great race as well for BS Competition, to be fair, 5th and 7th, scoring some decent points. An unfortunate race for EMM, Matt Caruana and Will Chadwick, propping up the leaderboard again, only taking 3 points from another race here at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
It's 1.1 seconds, the gap in the end between Porsche Commanders, Charlie Collins and Josh Rogers. David Sobrero leads the TC Sports pair home. Jack Keithley 4th, so they get some nice points after struggling a bit in race 1. Roddy Stableford gets 5th place, Kai Guerrero 7th, with Cody Nikolakowski splitting them. The Grandmaster drivers 8th and 9th, Nico Nunninghoff front of Maximilian Den, ahead of Cristiano Gianotto, would have been hoping for better after he qualified 7th. And EMM finished 11th and 12th, a minimum 3 points from this race picked up for them in what's been a difficult start to the season. Charlie Collins joins us now, race 2 winner tonight from Group A. Charlie, congratulations on another victory this season. How much of an agreement was that between teammates there in that race between you and Josh?
Hey fellas, no, that was all out war. That was for. I'm joking. No, that was. I mean, with the long straights here at Le Mans, we can talk about the race quite a bit. So, yeah, it was all talked about.
In terms of this race and layout being different to the last, the obvious thing to say is that obviously there are no chicanes on this layout. How much of a difference did that make? What kind of a difference did it make, for better or worse, than this layout, do you think?
To be honest with you, it did make a difference. I mean, in qualifying, for example, you're on the straight for so long, and all you're thinking about is Mulsanne corner. I was actually thinking about the little kink, the right kink in the middle of the straight, because trying to just keep the wheel as straight as possible. Yeah, it did make a small difference. I think closed the field up a bit just without the chicanes. Chicanes are kind of places where you can get off track quite easily, and just a lot of combination corners. So closed up a little bit, but. Yeah, after getting past the Mulsanne corner, it was kind of back to normal.
Congratulations on taking another win, Charlie, tonight at Le Mans, I should say, and continuing that maximum points from the season for Porsche Commander. Thanks for chatting to us at the end. Congratulations again.
Cheers, fellas.
Thanks so much. Charlie Collins, the winner tonight from race 2 in Group 1 at Le Mans with no chicanes. And there's the standings: 144 points from a maximum 144, 45 ahead of TC Esports, who they were just in a group with. Verstappen Sim Racing have the chance to obviously maintain the gap that they are behind still, but it's a massive lead and it feels like it's increasing.
They've really taken control of this season, haven't they? Porsche Commander Esports so far, they've been absolutely picture perfect, and it's continuing. Obviously, that gap is immense. The one thing that we're waiting for, of course, is to see what Verstappen Sim Racing do. That race coming up in a few moments' time, where we'll suspect they might get themselves a good result on the board and hopefully take over some second position, keep that gap nice and close to Porsche Commander Esports, and hopefully in the coming weeks we'll be able to see them two teams going toe-to-toe in a group together. Very excited to see that one happen. Wonder if there's going to be a slightly better race for this driver here. Max Benneker, frustrations in race 1 a little bit earlier on this evening.
Absolutely. And for Miles, they've lost a bit of ground in the points now. As I mentioned, the Group B layout, the Group B teams are much weaker as far as results are concerned than the Group A teams for this week. It's on a rotation basis for the 4 rounds of the regular season, obviously, but it is weaker, this one, Group B, than we're seeing in Group A at the moment. There's Kai Oliveira, who's logged off for the evening. And there's the driver who we thought was Maximilian Den earlier, but it isn't. Yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. For Group B. Moritz Lerner's got some support, some furry support there.
Indeed. Not normally what we talk about in sim racing, but I'm sure that's not distracting at all. We were
launch that.
You want to launch it?
Well, it's distracting, isn't it?
I was going to say, not a fan of cats, are you? All right,
no,
that's fine.
No, I'm not that aggressive towards them.
No, that's fine. To be fair, I remember. I'm very much like, I can't be distracted by anything when I'm driving, mostly because I'm wildly incompetent and I need all the help I can get. But any distraction, I'm very easily, just like, oh, what's that? Oh, I've crashed. Fantastic news. Not quite like Cameron Roger, though I think he'd do quite well on this layout of the moment. He did go straight, going down into one of the more chicanes. Well, unfortunately, the chicane was there. and so obviously he binned it into a very big tyre bundle. That cat hopefully will get off the top of the sim rig before the lap's fully begun there for Morris Lerner.
We'll wait and see. You know who else would like this circuit? I think very much, as opposed to the ones with chicanes, would be Oscar Hardwick. I think
he would indeed. Although to be fair, that was the bump going up, like obviously just before the first chicane. There's quite a bump, and if you're trying to do certain things and you go over that bump and you don't got hands on the wheel, there's going to be a big crash. That is a story for another time in the world of sim racing.
How many hands did he have on the wheel?
0.
Oh, I see. Right.
His hands were otherwise occupied, but between a bottle and a hard place, and it didn't work. Let's just go with that.
It's the Le Mans broadcast. I've got to bring it up. So I've done that now. Dominic Ladler's the first one out on his way for the lap, by the way, for one-shot qualifying. And he will set the benchmark that everybody else will have to beat. He's just woken himself back up again in time for Mulsanne corner, where he is ready to fire in towards Indianapolis once again after another little bit of waiting. On this now, I do see what you mean about this not being the most exciting to drive, especially on your own. But the racing in the last race was entertaining enough, and I'm sure it will be the same in this one as well in Group B.
Indeed, onto the brakes into Arnage, and now this build up to the Porsche curves for Dominic Ladler. It wasn't a particularly good race for this variant of the Rennsport community team. It's the second one, isn't it? They did not have a good race last time. They're down towards the bottom, especially after the solid point score from Referox. They are now, I think, the 12th team in this competition. Need to qualify well, need to get some decent points under the board. It's now or never. Missing the apex there a little bit through the second part. Pulls it back in before we flick through the left-hander at karting. Departing the Porsche curves up towards the Ford chicanes. Dominic Ladler knows the times to aim for. Around about the 3:06s. Somewhere the 7s or 8s might be a solid qualifying position. Certainly the 10s and below. It's not going to be looking good. Look pretty tidy there in the final complex. Ladler will cross the line with an 8.6. Not bad, not incredible.
Yeah, not bad at all from Dominic Ladler. See how everybody else goes in trying to get past that time. Daniel Ratet is going to be next to try. It was through here, wasn't it? Where was it? Yeah, it was him actually through the final chicanes, wasn't it? In the first race of the day, where he dropped a couple of places at the very, very end. He starts this session with a decent time, an 8.2 there, which might stand up decently.
Enrico Broniger, who is heading himself in the Peugeot into this final run. Obviously, this team had some good speed, especially in hand as Tim Schroeder in the previous one. They've got some solid speed behind the wheel of this car. Let's see if he can maybe move himself to the top of the leaderboard. 8.2 to beat, 8.6 it is. So we've got 3 times set, all very close.
Yeah, which is encouraging. Although, I know that you say it's a long circuit, so you sort of got to recalibrate things. But actually, with the amount of turns here, it's sort of got the turns of a regular racetrack, really. So it's not, it's not that different to what we see at even a place like Spa, where we were last week, to be honest. As Juha Soppanen comes through the final corners now, and first time on the board for Referox. Still yet to see a teammate of somebody come over yet. Soppanen goes into 4th.
And we're not going to get it until the first 6 drivers have been across the line, because we've had 4 different drivers so far from 4 different teams. We're now going to make it 5 from 5. Morris Lerner will make it 6 from 6. He might even have a teammate in the form of a cat alongside him. Kevin Siggy will cross the line and goes to the top with a 6.3.
There we go. That's a bit more like it for Kevin Siggy in terms of what we're expecting from a pole time here. This will be a good marker here from Moritz Lerner as to how close he's going to be in this session. Uses a little bit of that pit entry road there to open out this final chicanes. What's the run to the line going to be like? What's the reaction like? Not too much of a reaction, but it should be second, and it's a 7.7, not really anywhere near Kevin Siggy.
No, but I mean, still second position, still ahead of a lot of the cars at the moment. As much as I suspect this qualifying session might be close to what we've seen maybe a little bit earlier on in the night, courtesy of some of the corners being removed, it's still going to be pretty distant. It still is a long lap for these drivers to deal with, and there's still a lot of complexity within it. Oscar Soprich in the Peugeot 9X8 up towards the line, just goes ahead of Juho Soppinen, but another one of the 3-minute 8s onto the board. Here comes Enzo Benito after a fantastic performance earlier in the night.
Can he do it again for race 2? Through the final chicanes, look at the line he takes through. You just see it visually, it's so much cleaner. He's so clean through there, and this is going to be a low 6 by the looks of things. Over the line, and it's a 6.2. Enzo Benito is enjoying Le Mans, and he's on provisional pole here in race 2.
Still some fast drivers to come. Stan Fleester actually performed really well in the race earlier on in the day, ended up in 5th position for the Referox team, scoring some very important points for the squad. Could find himself somewhere on the 2nd or 3rd row. I suspect a 307 is very much possible for Fleester here, up towards the line. It's going to be a 307.8. Indeed, find himself on the 2nd row provisionally.
It's a solid time. Not sure how many others behind are going to be able to beat it, really. Octavian Stan will be next, but to be fair, Tim Schroeder and Maximilian Benecke will be both drivers who really could challenge certainly those front 2 rows, if not the front row itself. Currently a Verstappen Sim Racing lockout, but Octavian Stan to come through first and over the start-finish line. What's the lap time? Yeah, 12.4. Unfortunately not competing, and get the sense that he knew that was going to be the case based on that reaction.
Tim Schroeder here ended up in 4th position in the previous one, qualified quite so well, being wisely informed, some of the best hair in sim racing. We'll see about that. Through the final chicane, obviously a very important thing to be dealt with here in sim racing. Some people say it's Enzo Benito, although he might be the most beautiful man in some people's cases. 308.189. Find himself in 5th, one final time to come in. It is big bad Max Benecke.
How close to the front row is this going to be? He's still absolutely focused in here, so there's still a chance as he comes through the final chicanes. Oh, a bit of a slide on the exit. How much is that going to cost him? Can he get in amongst those Verstappen Sim Racing drivers? No, he can't. In fact, he's over a second off of pole, although he does head up row 2 alongside his teammate.
So it's going to be a Verstappen Sim Racing front row lockout. They had a 1-2 in the previous race. Enzo Benito ahead of Siggy as it was in the previous race. Max Benecke had disappointment, still recovered the 7th. We'll start this one from 3rd. Moritz Lerner alongside. Stan Fleestrup will start from 5th position, showing a bit of turn of form for Referox. Tim Schroeder, a couple of positions lower than he was earlier in the night. Daniel Rattay, well, start from 7th position for the Sim Nation PXN racing car, ahead of Enrico Broniger. The Community Team 3 actually running pretty strongly this evening. Dominic Ladler, Oscar Soprich, Juho Soppinen and Octavian Stan will be the 12-car field. Slipstream will be out in form, but with the 1 second margin for Verstappen Sim Racing, can they take control of this race? You get the feeling if Kevin Siggy has a similar start in this one as he did in the previous, then things might go slightly awry, but I'm sure he'll remember to turn track control off this time.
Yeah, he's not going to make that mistake again twice, you wouldn't have thought, but we'll wait and see what happens on this start. It's such a tight run towards that 3rd chicane here at Le Mans, as you turn right and then pretty immediately getting on the brakes there for that chicane, and so it does get very tight through there. But the first race that we've seen on this No Chicanes Allowed just had such a spread out field there, even on the opening lap as they got going, that used to imagine this race is going to be very, very different here. As long as they stay all a little bit closer together, then this is going to be a very different prospect coming down the straight for the first time.
Indeed, there's Stan Fleester with a Fleester top in the background, so he's clearly got his own branded merch. Do you have a shirt with your name on it or anything?
I don't think. No, I don't think so. No, other than a football shirt when I had as a child.
Yeah, that does not count. I've got a Zancho Simsport top with my name on it. It sits in a cupboard downstairs. I'll probably never wear it again. Probably because I think it's a size too small for me now. I've definitely fattened up in my later years here. Oh, nice. Enzo Benito making a little bit of contact there.
That's what it's about. Under practicing crashing through the Mulsanne kink, it looks like, and might be Daniel Rattos having a look down the inside there, but anyway, maybe a little bit of practice in terms of the racing we might see. Not that I'm joking. It's not it's not the worst thing you can do in a practice session. Practice racing, especially at a draft track like this.
Yeah, I mean, look, all of the practice they do, it's at the point where these drivers are so well versed with a lot of these circuits we race at. There's almost no point in them going out and practice just to find the apex, find that little bit of speed or whatever. Do a little bit of racing. Mostly they're just kind of going out there. They're not really thinking about what they're doing. It's just kind of like just something to pass the time. Like it makes very little difference to their race at this kind of level. Just, you know, calm the nerves, get out there, see how things are feeling, and that's really it. Maybe see how the race start works. They should be pretty settled with it. It's Enzo Benito and Kevin Siggy on the front row of the grid. All miles on row 2. We get ready for the second race of Group B and the final race of the evening. Who's going to take victory? It was Benito earlier in the night. Very even start between the top groupings as Kevin Siggy drops straight into the slipstream of Enzo Benito. Max Benneker and Moritz Lerner are very close in the background of that fight. For third position, it is all BMW rising up their hill. Enzo Benito will lead the opening corner. Max Benneker sending it to the outside of Kevin Siggy, the fight that you were alluding to, Ewan, a little bit earlier in the night. You were thinking it was going to be for the race lead. This time it's though for second. Kevin Siggy just keeps Benneker at bay.
The problem is that is allowing Enzo Benito to get away a little bit more, but that second hasn't quite been breached yet, and so Benneker's got to think very carefully about what he's going to do now with Kevin Siggy in that battle for second position in here. Moritz Lerner's next in line, then Schroeder, and they're all in line pretty much all the way down until you get a little bit further down the field where Enrico Brunninger's had a little bit of trouble here. But Benito's not in the clear yet. He's being brought back now as they come into the slipstream along the Mulsanne Straight.
Yeah, I mean, the Rennsport Community Team 3, which is the one with Tim Schroeder and Enrico Brunninger, have had a great run so far tonight. 4th and 6th in the previous race, currently running in 5th position with Tim Schroeder. Brunninger, unfortunately, not going to score some decent points here, but I think they'll be in an all right position when it comes to their closeness to the top 6. Max Benneker pulled out of the slipstream, with the slipstream being gifted to Kevin Siggy from Enzo Benito. There was nothing that could be done. Speaking of Tim Schroeder, look at the speed in the background. There's going to be 2 wide, nearly 3 wide here as Stan Fleischer looks to the inside. Lerner into the barrier, a little bit of contact between them, and now Daniel Rattai's thrown his way into it. Hip checks between the pair of them. My goodness me, it's like the Indy 500 between this quartet.
That was so close to disaster on a number of occasions. Moritz Lerner was nearly the one who was gone, and then Daniel Rattay, in trying to force a 3-wide moment there, nearly sent Felicia and Schroeder off along with himself as well. That was super close between those 3, but we get away with it, and they continue on once again here. Here comes Tim Schroeder now on the run towards Indianapolis, whereas Charlie Collins was explaining to us that the track very much returns back to just how it is normally here at Le Mans. Down the straight towards Indianapolis, he's on the outside. Schroeder gets back through, he's into 5th, and it hasn't cost him too much time either to that front 4.
Brilliant bit of racing there. Fantastic to see Tim Schroeder and Stan Fleischer there showing that you can go side by side through Indianapolis without any major dramas. Not quite as to what we were seeing in the previous race with the BS competition duo and pretty much everyone in that midfield of the race. But I'm thinking that there might be some good racing in this one yet. Max Benneker's keeping the Verstappen sim racing cars within arm's distance, 8/10 off of the top lot. Obviously very close between them, and really Moritz Lerner still within slipstream distance of his teammate Max Benneker. So it is still Verstappen sim racing 1 and 2, Mouse 3 and 4. Pretty much everyone else fighting over 5th position.
Yes, great to watch though. Further back in the field, I would look forward though to a race leading fight here among a couple of different teams here. Can Max Benneker force that in amongst the 2 Verstappen sim racing drivers up in front? Remains to be seen here as they continue to run 1 and 2. But yeah, this is where the entertainment's going to come from, down in the midfield here. And the fact that it was a cleaner start as well than what we saw to the first race at the circuit with no chicanes means that this is likely to continue on longer with more drivers involved, although Felicia makes a much more mistake there. Here comes Daniel Rattay on the way down the hill through the Temps Rouges S's.
Yeah, unfortunately for Felicia at that moment there is going to cost him not only a little bit of battling here with Daniel Rattay, but also it's going to cost him an awful lot of that slipstream from Tim Schroeder, who's not quite going to be getting that much from Moritz Lerner. He's about 1.5 seconds off. We've got a quartet for the race lead, separated by 2.3 seconds. So all nice and tight towards the front. Tim Schroeder might be in a little bit of a world of his own, because I get the feeling that the Simulation PXN cars, both of Rattay and of Soprych, might be battling it here with Stan Fleischer. I said there might be a rule against it. I haven't seen anything yay or nay, so I was just kind of assuming maybe they had. Either way, Daniel Rattay's like, well, I don't care if there is a rule against it or not. I'm bump drafting you, Tim Schroeder. We're going to try and close out, Stan Fleischer, and we're going to try and catch Tim Schroeder and maybe that top battle.
Maybe it is working as well, because you can see the relative there just coming down a little bit, 0.8 of a second now, and just coming down with a little bit more speed than it otherwise might be as well. So yeah, he is pushing here, but maybe now he's going to go for a move itself as he comes towards Mulsanne corner. He's looking left and right, and he's going to be given the slipstream a little bit there as well, only a whiff of it though, on the way towards Mulsanne corner. He's on the inside line, he's got his nose in front, and he has got 6th place as well.
Indeed, a little bit deep there from Soprich in the background, and even deeper from Juho Soppinen. This is on board with Stan Fleestrup, who's got on side by side again with Daniel Rattay, and so 6th position might go the way of the number 1 kart. Referox looking a little bit stronger this round. Here's the battle for the race lead, Kevin Siggy and Enzo Benito. Enzo Benito will retake over that one. Now a big gap back to Max Benecke. That gap has grown to 1.5 seconds. Importantly though, for Mouse, even with 3rd and 4th, I think they'll be sitting there thinking, right, okay, we're not winning, it's a bit disappointing, blah 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 blah. We're at least scoring decently here. 3rd and 4th, what they need to do, they're above that cut, they're in 4th position at the moment. Unfortunately, by the way, I think the Simulation PXN car of Daniel Rattay had a bit of a moment there and has dropped down to 10th position behind Dominic Ladler.
Yeah, we're starting to see, as a part of all that, starting to see a top 6 define itself now. There's definitely 6 favourites, you'd say. Well, I'd say 5 favourites, and the Rennsport Grandmaster team are maybe outperforming what I was expecting at the start of the season. But you can see a defined top 6 even starting to define themselves now, with a 17-point gap between BS Competition, who are the last team who are currently making it into that final, in the final 6, and the community teams 1 and 3 as well, who are tied on 52 points at the moment, one of whom are in this race. Tim Schroeder is very much flying the flag for them though at the moment, and they do need some more points wherever they can get them. 17 points doesn't sound like a lot, but actually in this point system that's going to be quite hard to bring back.
It is. Obviously very unfortunate there for Enrico Broniger, who's had a problem on the opening lap. Might be able to steal a spot away from Octavian Stan, maybe even a couple more before the end of the race. The Rennsport Community Team 3, the one that we're looking at here, have had some solid speed tonight though, especially comparatively to the opening 2 races of the 2026 season. Dominic Ladler here, going side by side with Daniel Rattay on his return up the order. Got the BMW of Ladler way out wide, taking Ewan O'Leary's line, I'm sure, to the end of the SSX towards the chicane.
You've never seen me drive around here before.
No, I saw you drive around Spa though. Then I can't really say anything, I was the one that crashed.
Well, indeed. And I didn't mention it this time.
I got ahead of you. I knew you were going to do
that. Getting there. Oh dear, that was close. Broniger very nearly left it too late to pull past Octavian Stan there. The difference in speed is sufficient that he's actually made a clear pass on the Mulsanne straight, and that hasn't happened in the races with no chicanes yet.
No, indeed, that was actually all right. I mean, look, we've seen some good racing for sure. I wonder if we're going to see any more. I want to see some more of that side by side, which did happen on lap 3. Obviously in the previous one. See if we'll get some more excellent side by side to the Porsche girls this time by. Probably less so between the race leaders. I think they'll be playing the cards close to their chest, and much like what we saw with Porsche Coanda, I'm sure there might be a couple of position switches, but it'll all be relatively communicated between Enzo Benito, Kevin Siggy and the team as well. Dominic Ladler here, just keeping Enrico Broniger and Octavian Stan at bay. And well, there is going to be some moves here. And Enrico Broniger to the outside.
Wow.
Get his way through. Wow, brilliant stuff.
That was unusual, really. The way he was just able to outbrake him there and just sort of take the apex and just take 10th place, as if Ladler was giving it to him. But anyway, maybe he's going to take it back now. Oh, as he pulls to the inside, there was barely any space there. He's going to be walloping this curve on the inside, and he might well do the same when they actually get to Indianapolis and spin out to the inside. Let's hope not, as he's trying to get this 10th place back again. No, he takes it a little bit more conservatively on the inside there, and rightly so as well. He slides a bit wide in the dirt and in the marbles, and he can't take that 10th place back again. What a strange fight in so many ways between these two.
Oh, goodness me. And Daniel Rattay has been way off the road going into one. It's going to be another one from Enrico Broniger. You said they need to score more points. Well, here we go. The Community Team 3 is starting to score some much better points, as Enrico Broniger's got past the 3 cars in the relatively recent future. He's gone from 1 point up to 4. And got past Daniel Rattay. Oh, then cuts across. The thing is, that could be a penalty from Race Control, and it could be losing out a little bit more. Wasn't quite clear. Cut across, lost all the ground.
And Ladler's gone through. Radted lost another place, but he's gone through. And Octavian Stan has gone through as well. So for all the good work of Enrico Brunninger in the last couple of moments, and it was good for him to make those passes as he did. He's undone it all through the Porsche curves there with a mistake really that didn't really need to make. But he's got one more lap. He's got to try and get what he can from these final moments.
Well, here we go. Get your cameras out. We'll see two of the Verstappen sim racing cars here do battle when Enzo Benito, Kevin Siggy, 1.5 seconds clear of Maximilian Benneker. It is going to be a solid points haul for the Verstappen sim racing team, you feel, regardless. These two are far too experienced to trip up over each other, and that's not me even thinking, well, that'll maybe bring out the commentator's curse. I don't believe in the commentator's curse. Total rubbish. Enzo Benito and Kevin Siggy here. They've been so well versed in their time in sim racing and the Verstappen sim racing duo. I'm sure there's a little bit more to tell here. Can Kevin Siggy steal one away ahead of Enzo Benito? We'd have 4 different winners on the night if that's the case.
Indeed, that would be impressive, considering the night that we saw last week, where Charlie Collins was able to do the double in his group for Porsche Coanda. But is there going to be that sort of agreement, or this sort of agreement rather, where they stay like this, or is Kevin Siggy going to give this a go? I think he's going to wait until that run to Indianapolis, I would suspect, because as Charlie Collins was explaining to us earlier, this track really is the same, other than this long Mulsanne straight. So once you're into Mulsanne corner here, you carry on as normal. Is there going to be a move here, or is it going to wait for later in the lap? Well, if it is arriving, it will be in the late part of this lap.
Indeed, I mean, like I say, Benneker's just looming large in the background, so you kind of think the Verstappen race probably have had the communication that maybe we can't do anything too crazy and too over the limit. I mean, they probably have already communicated that anyway. They'll know what they're doing in this, and I do think that gap might be a little bit too large now for Kevin Siggy. Into the Porsche curves. Boys, take it side by side through there. Why not?
Absolutely. We've already seen a fantastic battle through there between Stapleford and Nunninghoff. I think we'll do well to do better than that as far as a race is concerned. A battle is concerned between two drivers. Let's see whether it happens. It wasn't the cleanest exit from Arnaud from Benito, but I think he'll be okay.
Porsche curves to tick off. It's been a perfect night for Porsche Coanda Esports in Group A. They've dominated and have taken a maximum of 144 points a week ago. It wasn't quite the story that Verstappen Sim Racing were wanting. I heard from Enzo Benito in the interview after race 1 for Group B. They were not happy with how that race. They just got punted off. They got moved around. They did not have a fun race. This evening has been all about Verstappen Sim Racing here in Group B. They dominated race 1. Enzo Benito ahead of Kevin Siggy. They're going to dominate this one as well. A second victory on the night. Enzo Benito through the 4 chicanes. And a second consecutive 1-2 for the Verstappen Sim Racing team. Number 2 on the live standings. And they will be holding on to that position. Benito from Siggy, and a great points haul as well from Miles, from Benneker and Lerner, moves them above the cut line. A solid performance indeed, though, from Enzo Benito this evening.
Yeah, as I mentioned, a top 6 starting to define themselves now as the halfway point in this season. 17 points between BS Competition and Community Team 1 and 3, who have finished on the same amount of points here at the end of tonight. They're the 2 main contenders, and Enrico Brunninger could have brought that a lot closer. He was running in 9th at one stage for the Community Team 3 side tonight. He was not able to stay there, though, and he ends up in 12th place, leaving 3 points on the table.
Unfortunately, could also have a little bit to talk about with race control, as I'm sure a lot do. Remember, live race control is not a thing this season. It'll be post-race. They'll have to deal with it. And hey, who knows? Maybe some penalties will be overturned, and then some people will appear on podiums when maybe they shouldn't. Who knows what will happen? Crazy scenes indeed. Enzo Benito and Kevin Siggy, first and second of that. 1-2 for Verstappen Sim Racing. Mouse 3 and 4 with Benneker ahead of Lerner. Tim Schruder in 5th position with Stan Fleischer for Ferox. Then Oscar Soprich, Soppinen, another good result from Ferox then, so really scoring some decent points tonight after the disappointment of a week ago. Dominic Ladler in 9th position ahead of Daniel Rattay, Octavian Stan and Enrico Brunninger, the 2 debutants in R1 this evening, in 11th and 12th. This is how the standings look then after the races this evening. 144 points for Porsche Coanda Esports, 22 clear of Verstappen Sim Racing, who are 23 points clear of TC Esports. Inside the top 6 is Mouse, the Rennsport Grandmaster team, and BS Competition again scoring some solid points. Rennsport Community 1 and Community 3 on the outside looking in. 52 points to their name. Still, some solid points have been scored. We are joined by Enzo Benito once again. A winner here in R1. 2 victories this evening. Ewan was saying that you seem to click really well with this track. Obviously, the disappointment of race 2 last week. I'm sure there might have been a bit of fear that maybe that was going to happen again here in race 2 this evening, but no one's there to punt you around. You two were completely dominant. How was that?
Pretty straightforward. 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, here we go. No, I mean, I was hoping for a bit of a fight maybe with Mac, but since third year is really strong, he lost the draft very easily, and then it was just me and Kevin again. I was waiting for Kevin to overtake me on the last lap, but I think in one of the corners where it's crucial to overtake, he couldn't nail it, and luckily I did, so he didn't go for it. But yeah, anyway, team competition, and we take the 1-2 again.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, we were talking to Kevin a little bit earlier. Obviously, the important bit here for the team is being in the top 6, getting into the final, right? As much as I'm sure you want to challenge Porsche Commander on the points, you're in different groups. Sometimes it's hard to take points off of them. You just got to take what you can get. What is the goal, at least from you for this? Is there like a specific thing outside of being in the top 6? Is it maybe like hanging on to second position, maybe even trying to just keep some 1-2s rolling in? Or is it literally just, as long as we're in the top 6, we're in that final, we're happy?
Yeah, I think you got it right. I mean, we just need to get into the final, right? Then in the final, we see what happens, and it's just a long practice until the final, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you clearly are gelling well with this car, and you were gelling well with the Circuit de la Sarthe. Enjoy the race of the weekend. I'm sure it'll be a good watch, and you've had a little bit of a teaser for it. Cheers, Enzo.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Now it's teammate Kevin Siggy, 2-1-2s for the Verstappen Sim Racing team. Kevin, superb performance from you and Enzo this evening. I mean, like I say, you're clearly clicking well with the Circuit de la Sarthe and this car. It looked like a lot of fun out there, at least in this race. No chicanes on the Mulsanne. Bit of an oddity for us in sim racing.
Yeah, it is a bit odd, but I mean, it's just a minute and a half. Just a straight line, but honestly, to be honest, I could have dinner on that straight and still make it and still finish, you know. But yeah, I mean, we always click with Enzo, so it's never been a bad dynamic at all. It's always been good between us. So yeah, I mean, there's no real competition between us in the back. Luckily, we went out to slipstream and just managed it really.
How much communication is there between you and Enzo, either through the race or maybe even at the start of the race, as to how to unfold, or do you just kind of wing it and obviously have that full trust in your teammate and just see how things unfold in that opening lap, more so to break the slipstream of those behind you?
It's nothing special really. I think we were talking about some completely different things even during the countdown, so it's like, you know, I had to lock in within 3 seconds, but you know, I mean, you don't need to really speak too much to him to know what he's gonna do. It's just, I mean, we just kept swapping, looking at your battery, and that's it. I mean, he almost did crash in the final lap, which was, thank God, you know, like he made it out alive. You know, a curb almost made him do that, but yeah, I mean, still quite easy. Nothing special between us, just you know, roll through it from start to finish.
Well, it's been the perfect points all here for Verstappen Sim Racing this evening, for you and your teammate Kevin. Big congratulations and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. Have fun.
Yeah, cheers, Kevin. Right, and one final interview. As per request, Tim Schroeder's here in the corridor. We've wisely informed that you got voted by quite a large community, because clearly you got a lot of fans out there as having some of the best hair in sim racing. Hello, welcome. Clearly a big night for you in this. Obviously, last round was a couple of 7th places. Pace-wise this time, Tim, looked a lot stronger. You and the team moving forward. Is that how it felt? You kind of gelled with the circuit?
Yeah, well, it's just like I'm still getting used to my new equipment, and the last 2 weeks I've been improving a lot. I've just been practicing hours and hours, and I'm happy it's finally paying off. And yeah, I hope I could do more in the future as well, but it's going really well, and yeah, still got a few rounds left, so I hope it improves even more.
one of the drivers here, rather than being a part of these established teams that we know from in sim racing, you've Verstappen sim racing, you've Maus, Porsches, you're one of the Rennsport community team drivers. What's that like? Do you kind of, because you had a new teammate this round as well, do you communicate much with your teammates, or are you kind of more here just representing yourself? Obviously, it is still a team game, team points, or how does that all work?
I mean, with my normal teammate, we actually work together a lot. We practice together, we did lobbies together to just make sure we get used to us as the dirty air as well. It's quite powerful. And this round, of course, we have Enrico, my new teammate, and he's filling in for this round. And I tried to get him up to speed a bit, but he's also really good himself, so he did most of the work himself. But yeah, I think I want to represent the community. Our team, especially with my teammate Yannick, but this time, yeah, of course, I'm also representing myself.
And obviously, you know how this format works when it comes into the evening. We race on two different circuits. Yes, tonight was two of the same circuit, one with chicanes, one without of it. But normally it's two different circuits. Any circuit in particular that you're looking at, thinking, "God, I hope that comes up," and hope the community vote for that one in the next couple of rounds?
Monza. I hope they vote Monza. But like Monza is just like the second chicane as well. Most people hate it. I like it. So I hope they give us Monza so we can race there.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Great progress this round, and maybe we'll see Monza in the next few races.
Hopefully. Goodbye.
There we go. Verstappen Sim Racing dominant. Tim Schroeder and the Rennsport community team moving their way forward. Great to see these kind of events here, Ewan, and really enjoyed it. I mean, look, it was another exciting round of racing, and more great performances here in Rennsport R1.
Yeah, more great performances, more great performances with what I was expecting, to be honest, from last week, though, especially in the case of Verstappen Sim Racing, who weren't really able to go for 1-2, obviously, and so especially explaining the reasons for that last week. But it does also come down to them in the end as well, and when it does come down to them, they've shown they can deliver it tonight with 2 1-2s. But Porsche Coanda doing the same as well. The big build-up going towards the final between those two now as well, which is going to be super interesting. And a gap in terms of the points as we've seen there between 6th and 7th, which is not unassailable at all. 17 points or so is not out of the question at all. So still an interesting couple of weeks to come as they try and qualify in that, all 12 of them try and qualify in that top 6.
And if you've sat back and thought, hey, racing twice at the Circuit de la Sarthe, maybe kind of boring, I want to see something a bit different, remember to go and follow Rennsport on social media, and you can be a part of the vote for next round to see where we'll be racing. Maybe Tim Schroeder's dreams can come to fruition. Maybe we're racing at Monza. Maybe Ewan O'Leary's dreams will come to fruition, and we'll have Fuji with the little shortcut rather than running through that really awkward chicane. Who knows? We'll be very excited to come back in a couple of weeks' time for Rennsport R1 when the action continues. From myself, Liz McGlade, from Ewan O'Leary, from everyone here at Racespot, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, bye-bye.